CoCoTALK is an unscripted live broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own and not necessarily those of the CoCoTALK show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds encouraged, sense of humor recommended. If any off-color comments were made, we're sorry.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS 80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks and grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for another exciting episode of CoCoTALK. We're here on episode 144 with a very special guest today. How about a big warm welcome to Christopher Mayeux?
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
All right, we're here. And Al Hartman's questioning my statement. He goes, another exciting episode? Are you saying we've never had an exciting episode yet, Al? What are you implying there, sir? But welcome, one and all. We've already got almost 25 people watching us live, and so we want to go ahead and apologize in advance. We're sorry. We got a great panel. We're not going to waste a lot of time on introductions. We're going to jump into our special guest. But in the Hollywood Squares right now in the top left-hand corner, we've got Mark Bosley. Welcome back, Mark.
Hello.
We've got the celebrity booking agent to the stars, the man responsible for our VIP guest today, Ron Delvaux.
Hi, folks. How's it all going?
In sunny Arizona, no less.
Yep.
We've got a guy from California with us. He's California dreaming. He knows the way to Santa Fe. Or San Jose, that is.
San Jose, dude.
San Jose. Sorry about that. I'm thinking of my
We went
wife.
to Santa Fe last year.
Yeah. But we got Michael Furman. Mikey's with us. Hey, Mikey.
Hey, everybody.
We're going around the Hollywood Squares from the Glenside Color Computer Club in Chicago. Brian, the Music Man Schubering. Hopefully his voice is okay today.
Of course it's okay. It's always okay.
All right. You didn't see anything, right? So Brian Schubering is with us here, all the way from down under.
Oh, crikey.
Nick Marentes is with us.
G'day, everyone. Yeah, I'm normally at the bottom of the list because I'm from the bottom of the world.
There we go. We've got a guy with more introductions than we have time to do, so we'll just call him Jason. The Coco Man Reichert is with us. Welcome, Jason.
Howdy, howdy. And since we have no David Ladd, I have my Diet Dr. Pepper and water ready to go.
We do have some David Ladd, though.
David Ladd.
There you go. We've got David Ladd. From Canada, where weed is legal and he's a happy guy, L. Curtis Boyle's with us.
Hello, everyone. I still have a bit of a cough. I'll try to mute the mic before any of that happens. But
right. We've got a guy who gets everything cool off of eBay, makes us all jealous. Brian Weaver's in the house.
Welcome. Hello.
We've got a guy who's finally done something productive with an Apple computer and put a 6809 in it. Mark Overholzer's here.
Hey, glad to be here.
All right. And we've also got from NASA, coming in from the International Space Station, John Lowry's here.
Hey, what's up?
We got a guy whose name is so nice we must say it thrice. So let me start off by saying
Nick Marotta.
Nick Marotta. Nick Marotta is with us. Welcome, Nick Marotta.
You know, I feel so loved that you call talking to us before the show a waste of time. Makes me really happy to be here every week.
Another Canadian. He's Canadian and he's sorry.
It's just
Nick
honesty.
Nick Marotta's here. And last but not least, we have our guest of honor, our very special guest, which we cannot thank Ron Delvaux enough for, and we cannot thank Christopher himself for being here. But without any further ado, we are going to spotlight Mr. Christopher Mayeux, right? Mayeux?
That's correct.
And
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, so this is where we play This Is Your Life. Let me just start off by saying this. For those of you, how about we just do this? How about we do a little bit of a tease? I'm going to show off a little something from YouTube. And this is, I'm going to call you the inventor of the color computer informative video series, because this goes back to way back in the day. But if you haven't seen this on YouTube, how about we just start off with a little, and listen to that music. Is this music done on a Coco?
Yes, it was.
All right. Learn your color computer.
Really loud.
Is it really loud?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Ron. What was that? It was too loud.
Yeah, that's why. Perfect.
Okay. The Coco Sig from New Orleans.
Hi, and welcome to Learn Your Color Computer. So let's begin.
All right.
I'd like to say a few words about
And you haven't aged a day.
in the computer community today.
Look at you.
And that's the closet
I
computers.
wish.
They're the ones that end up in your closet, alone and neglected, after a few fun hours with playing some games.
And this
usually takes place.
That statement right there has never been truer, and we'll talk about that as we talk about many things, but get your Cocos out of the closet, right? And that was a true statement 40 years ago. It's a true statement today, too. So now that we've introduced one of the many things you've done, now we'll go ahead and play This Is Your Life.
Okay. Would y'all like to know?
How did you get started in the Tandy color computer, or was there another machine before it?
That was my first. It was a Coco 1. It had 4K, believe it or not, and regular basic. And I just upgraded it a little at a time from there.
Was this back in 1980 or 81?
That was in 82.
Okay.
Is that when you started making the videos?
No, that was much later, back in 89.
Cool.
Wow.
So how did you get those videos publicized, or shown?
Well, it is very simple. A lot of cities have a contract with their cable companies that require them to have a public access channel. And that usually requires them also to make studios and equipment available to just about anybody that they want to give a crash course to. So we went that route.
They still do that today.
So that was actually and I was going to say, it did very much have that look and feel of a cable public access type show. And so you literally recorded that at a local cable company public access setup.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that's ultra convenient, right? You had cameras, you had lights, camera action, right?
Oh, most definitely. We had all the equipment right there available to us. In fact, we made a trip down to Kinko's one night to make a copy of the manuals for everything. So we'd each have documentation on how every little function worked on everything. The edit controller, the switcher, the character generator, even the audio mixer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is this actually a PBS station, or was this just a local?
That was local cable access.
Okay.
And was all of this equipment yours, or did you have to have somebody else contribute to fill it all in?
All the equipment was made available by the cable station.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So were you given the recordings? Were you given the recordings afterwards, like that are up here now? Like, were you given those right away?
Oh, yeah,
or?
They were ours to take. They were on our tapes. We just get to use their equipment to put it all together.
Okay, neat. And were they recorded this on VHS?
Oh no, it was on huge 3/4-inch tapes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like a reel-to-reel type thing?
Well, it's not reel-to-reel. It looks like a really big beta tape is what it looks like.
Okay.
Could be the original beta 1.
The mobile ones were like about yay big, and the stationary ones were even bigger.
Wow.
Cool. Were you? How many people were involved in the production of the show?
Usually it was just two, me and the producer.
Wow. So the producer was
We did-
also the
we did
the
we did have
cameraman.
other people that we had people volunteering once in a while. We had John Britton, who would work for the local WDSU television station, and we had people just volunteering that were in our group.
So was
Wow.
this your idea from the beginning? Did you like come up with it and then approach them, or how did it start?
Well, it started off from our producer, Andy Boudreau, who is no longer with us. And he approached me saying, well, we need an idea to make a cable TV show. Do you think it would be a good idea to do something on programming? So I said, well, yeah, we can just go right through the manual for Color Basic and get it our first 13 weeks right there.
Oh, that's
And
based
so we
on the
did.
13 chapter book, which later got expanded.
Right.
That's an
We
interesting
were-
historical
We were actually
anecdote.
going to expand it another 13 weeks to do extended basic as well, but a lot of slots got filled up on the cable station,
Wow.
so we didn't have room to go in.
Wow. We got a comment in the live audience. Ken Reichert says, and look how far Coco Video has fallen since then. It's gotten a lot worse, right? So-
It's called CoCoTALK.
We have a lot of
lowering the
fads,
bar.
You can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, that's what we did for the longest kind of time. We just worked on that every week. We got together, did a recording, did some editing, and it was all done.
and what did you edit on? Since this is on analog large tape, how did you edit that?
Well, they had an edit controller there at the station.
Okay.
It's a small console about yay big, had a knob for shuttle control on
Okay.
the player and on the recorder, set an in point, set an out point, hit assemble.
And
Wow.
you said the intro music was done on a Coco?
Yes, it was.
What
believe the
software did
pro-
you use?
I
You
think
remember?
it was Lyrica 2.
Hmm.
I think.
Either Music
that
2 or
the one-
Lyra, I guess. Yeah, probably.
Was that the one that allowed putting
Four-
notes in, or?
Yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah.
Music,
Yeah.
Musica,
One of them
and-
used a mouse and one used a keyboard, if you remember which way you entered the music.
Yeah, but yeah, this one we just put notes on the staff on the screen.
Was that Musica?
Could have been.
It might
Music
be.
and Lyra both did that, so yeah, it could be either.
It's been so long, I
Yeah.
don't remember the name.
Well,
of the
was it a
program
white screen
exactly.
or a green screen?
It was green.
jeez.
Green screen.
Wow.
So that was
Oh, that'd be
Musica.
Musica.
Music.
Music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you compose the music yourself too, or?
Yes, I did.
That was gonna be one of my next questions. Who was the composer? But we have that person here too. So
Yes, you do.
that's awesome.
Was all the equipment yours, or were you a member of a local color computer club?
All the equipment. You
Oh,
mean-
the
color
computer
color
equipment.
computer equipment. Was that all yours,
yeah.
or were you a member of a color computer club?
yeah, the stuff that we had on screen, that was mine.
Wow. I mean, it's an impressive setup because you had the Coco 2, you had the multi-pack, you've got floppies, you've got cassettes, you've got printers. I mean, you had all the accoutrements. And I don't think everybody had all of those accessories because, especially back then.
Well,
and
let me ask you, were you married at the time?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so then you didn't have to explain why you were getting more of the stuff for the show. You just got it.
No, my first marriage didn't happen until 97. That was 97. And yeah, she was from Canada.
Nah.
Yeah.
Ron's got a lot of experience explaining his purchases to his wife.
Well,
I still haven't gotten the knack for that one.
it's like after it arrives.
After it
I
arrives.
explain.
That's awesome.
Now, were you a programmer yourself, or were you kind of learning as you went along as well, or had you had experience programming in BASIC already, or?
Well, at that point that we started the show, I already had the experience. And when I got my my Coco one, I went through that manual end to end, and I had BASIC down pat in a week.
Wow. And did you go on to other languages, assembly or C or anything else after that?
Well, once I got into OS 9, of course, I went into Basic 09 just like everybody else, I'm sure did.
Some
Not
of us.
everyone.
And yeah, also did Standard C.
Okay.
We did a Kinko's run on that one night. The computer club. Everybody wanted to know how to do it. Somebody had a book of KNR Standard C. We made a Kinko's run. Everybody had a copy of the manual.
Wow.
So everybody's writing software.
That's cool.
And after that, I just jumped right into 6809 assembly.
Ah, okay.
And it was the funniest thing when I learned that, because the second I figured out that we had that org function in there to start the workspace, and that we could set a variable, I figured out if the first thing we put into this program is a variable called asm with a value of 0, that we could have the program have an orgasm.
That fits right along with the sign extended function, sex, from the 609 itself.
Exactly.
Nothing like assembly humor. You don't get enough assembly humor these days. You know, kids these days, they just.
Did you progress to the Coco 3 as well, or did you stop at the Coco 1 and 2, or?
I didn't actually have a Coco 2. Never had one. Went right to the 3 when we had set up a bulletin board system, the Coco Sig BBS. That's what we did it on. We started in with some drivers for basic, and did the whole thing on there on the Coco 3. Eventually, we got the FidoNet software and did the OS 9 level 2 with FidoNet.
Ribs, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Byler, yeah.
Right, and we kept running that for the longest kind of time.
Now, you were in Louisiana when you recorded that series, right?
Correct. At the time, I was living in Chalmette, Louisiana. In case you don't know, that is actually where the Battle of New Orleans took place. It did not happen in New Orleans. Your history teachers lied to you.
Ah. And you're in New Orleans now too.
No,
you're not. Oh, where are you now?
No. Now I'm in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah, when we had the unpleasantness of Hurricane Katrina.
Nah.
I, like a lot of other people in our neighborhood, lost everything. I went to Panama City and stayed there a while. That's where I met my second wife at there.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
When you said you lost everything, that included some Coco stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. The only thing I didn't lose was whatever I had with me, which included 3 changes of clothing, a revolver, and a couple of boxes of ammunition.
You had your priorities in order.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When you were in Louisiana, did you then, or do you now know? Do you know Boise? Because Boise is in New Orleans or in Louisiana.
Yes, he was a member of our club.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Oh yeah.
What was the name of your club?
The Coco Sig.
Oh, okay.
Was it based interest group?
Was it based around the BBS?
No, the BBS actually came after the group had started.
Oh.
The group started, I don't even remember what year it was. We had started at the St. Bernard Parish Public Library. We had I believe it was the second Thursday of each month. I'd go down there just before they closed and would get the key to their auditorium.
So how many did you have in the club at the most, would you say?
Oh, at the most, I'd say we probably had at least 30 at one point.
Okay.
What was your fondest memory of your original Coco lifespan when the Coco was new and exciting and everything else? What was your greatest aha moment or just happiness moment or surprise or whatever?
Well, the greatest aha moment I had was the best surprise and everything when I got my first program to work. It was a complete surprise. I thought sure I'd have some kind of error pop up, but no, it ran perfectly. Even gave me an okay.
Crazy.
All right.
It makes you think that you can do anything, huh?
Yeah.
How long did the club last in its original incarnation?
Let's see. The club actually lasted about 2 years after the series ended.
Okay.
So I think that was about 91. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Glenside Color Computer Club in the Chicago area?
I've heard of them. I've never made contact with any of them, but I have heard of them.
Yeah, they host Coco Fest, which basically picked up the torch from when Rainbow Fest ended, and this year will be the 29th annual last Chicago Coco Fest. A lot of us have been going there for, at least for me, this will be my 4th or 5th year in a row. For a lot of other people, they've been going for longer than that. So
and this year's a special one because it's the 40th anniversary of the Coco One too.
40th anniversable, which is.
And how many do you think show up at these Coco Fests?
I have no idea.
Give it a
I've never
guess.
been to one.
So
120.
How many?
120.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
The only convention I've been to in the last 20 years is Dragon Con.
What is that for?
They have close to 80,000 showing up.
Is that for the Dragon computer, or is that for something else?
No, it's sci-fi, fantasy,
okay, there you
comic books, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
It's like Comic-Con, except better.
Okay, better than Comic-Con.
There's actual drinking allowed.
You might be mistaken for a wizard at a Dragon Con.
I've been mistaken for a lot of people. The first Dragon Con I went to, some people thought it was George R.R. Martin.
Oh wow! From Game of Thrones, for those of you who don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a couple of times after that, I was mistaken for Dusty Hill. And
that's the guy from ZZ Top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's such a stereotype. You have a beard, you're automatically assumed to be a member of ZZ Top. It's just like you can't get a break, bearded guys, can you?
Yeah. We're stereotyped in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's
Next
very
question.
cool. Yes.
So I have a quick question on the series. Like you said, you recorded it around 1989. Now the Coco 3 had already been out for I think 3 years by that time. Had you given any consideration to actually using the Coco 3 to do some like the more high res stuff and some of the more advanced features, or was it mainly because you wanted to get people to pull an old machine out of the closet type thing?
Well, it was the old machine out of the closet thing. Yeah, none of us actually had a 3 yet. The one you saw on TV was a 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And that one actually belonged to Andy Boudreau, the producer.
The Coco 2 for this that you use in your video series?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You had an impressive array of equipment there. Yeah, that's neat. Was there a period of time where you kind of fell out of Cocoing, or did you remain somewhat Coco connected all these years, or have you taken breaks?
Well, it was a nice long break after I had left because of Hurricane Katrina. But I'd always kept remembering about it and looking it up on the internet once in a while just to see what was going on.
Yeah.
There's an addiction going on to it. I'm sure you'll all agree.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I call
The
these
first
guys
step is admitting that you have a problem.
Yes, this is a support group.
We're all in denial.
These guys are enablers.
What problem?
So up until Katrina, which was only a year or so ago, you were actively owning and operating a Coco? When was Katrina? How long ago was Katrina?
A while ago.
2005.
2005.
Oh, well, listen, I in Florida, I get a hurricane every year, so I kind of lose track. All right, so that was 15 years ago. But up until then, you were actively owning and operating a Coco.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I actually had a few other computers around the house, too. I got one of those other one of those OSK machines.
Ah.
I forget who made that one. It wasn't the MM1, but the other famous one. What was it?
TC70?
Tomcat?
What?
TC70 Tomcat? By
No,
Frank
it wasn't
Hogg?
one of those.
Or the System 4, System 5?
I'm not sure.
You didn't have a gimmicks, did you?
Oh
Or
no.
TC9, that was another one.
I don't know who it was now, but they sold just the motherboard, and you put it into a PC case, and that was so nice.
Was it an S100 bus?
No, it was a PC bus.
Well,
that might be the System 4, System 5 then, the PT68K or whatever it was called. Because that actually used PC, like VGA cards you could put in.
Oh, wow. Paul Fitch Fitch is asking, is it an AT306, which I've never heard of. It sounds like
that's a later one. Yeah.
AT306. That sounds like a Star Wars droid. AT306. Report in.
The 68306, I think it's a microcontroller, 16-bit microcontroller, so it has some extra features on the chip. That was a later one, actually, after the MM1.
Yeah, it was nice. I maxed out the memory that it would take and set it up to where when it first started, it would load everything into a RAM disk.
Ah.
So once it booted, it was all in memory.
And it's like a
Coco. So
fast.
Right?
Yeah. I did something similar in the MS-DOS days. If you had a lot of RAM, you did RAM disk stuff, and I would. I never got into OS9, but I did something similar where I'd keep all my stuff zipped up on the hard drive, but I would unzip it into a RAM drive, and all my games ran from RAM, so they would boot up quickly and load and run quickly and stuff.
Right.
Great idea.
It does make a difference.
Oh yeah. Very, very cool.
Next.
So what are you doing these days? So why don't you tell us about what's under your beard? What's around your collar?
That collar there?
Yes.
Oh, that doesn't mean I'm a minister. This just makes me a major chick magnet. Don't you think? Oh, yeah. I was ordained in 2008.
Ordained minister. And for somebody like me who only goes to church during weddings and funerals, help me understand the difference between a minister and like a preacher, for example, or a pastor.
Well, it's all in the terminology.
Okay.
A preacher can be anybody that knows the gospel.
Okay.
A minister or a priest is someone who has been ordained and can do things in an official capacity, like sign off on wedding certificates.
Okay. Okay.
Pastor is somebody who is the head of a church.
Okay. Now, are you able to, and have you ever performed an exorcism?
I haven't done one yet, but I do have the information to do it.
Okay.
You may want to do it on this show.
Now, but as a minister, people don't come to confession for you, right? Is that just what I do?
Catholic thing.
Yeah, that's a Catholic
Normally
thing.
they don't, but they sometimes they do, and I'll take their confession.
Okay.
As a non-denominational minister, I can do a lot of things that go on both sides of the fence.
No, it has been over 30 days since I've programmed on my Coco, so I'm confessing my sin right now. So,
okay.
I need to get back on that.
Yeah, say 3 go 2 5s. Save often.
Save often. Yeah.
He goes to the Temple of Ram.
The Temple of Ram, which, by the way, we that's right.
Thou shalt back up. Yeah.
Yes.
Go sub in peace, my child.
Isn't that Jesus saves and so should you?
Jesus saves and so should you. That's awesome. That's the best computer religion crossover joke I've ever heard. So,
I thought I was the best computer religion crossover.
I love it. Oh, this is great. This is gold right now.
Well, you might have some competition from Brother Jeremy, who's another.
Yeah.
He's a monk that was active in the Coco community for years and years.
Are you familiar with Brother Jeremy?
I don't think so.
Oh, if you just go into YouTube, and I'm not sure who has it, but he's got a famous video, the Kevin Darling video, where he's asking Kevin Darling to release the OS9. Was it level 3 source code?
Yeah. Level 2 version 3.
Level 2 version 3, right? So that video was already infamous to me before, and I got lucky. I met Brother Jeremy at my first Coco Fest. He was infamous. He still is infamous, I'm sure. But
I witnessed that in person, Stevie.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh, you guys were at PennFest when that
was
happened, right?
PennFest. Yeah.
Where's the guy now?
England.
Why?
He transferred to his church. He's working with youth groups in England, I think.
Oh.
What I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Questions?
So,
have you ever? Wait a minute, I gotta ask.
Go ahead, Ron Delvo.
Have you ever heard of an MC10?
Yes, I have.
Did you or do you own an MC10?
I had one.
Okay.
Did you?
Never got it to boot. It was broken. But
I also have I have another confession. I own 2 MC10s.
Okay.
Well, we have a particular group of people in here that love it, and a group that don't care for it that much.
It's kind of a running gag.
Named Nick.
And some use it as a prop to hold the windows up in their home, and they say it does windows.
Right.
Okay.
And others to keep the door open. But we have a guy in our group here somewhere who
Jim Gary.
programs MAD. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. We do have a question from Ben Drakes, who's in the UK. He says he would like to know about your game that's called the Caves of, I don't know how to pronounce that. Zlax?
X-Lax.
X-Lax. The Caves of X-Lax.
No relation.
No relation to the laxative. Okay.
Sounds slick.
Stay out of those games.
Sounds like a really crappy game.
Yes, yes. So
it eventually became a very good level for Doom 2.
Really? The Caves of X-Lax?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, neat.
Did a whole Cave of X-Lax thing going on Doom 2 for that one. It came out real nice.
And what was that game? What was that on the Coco? You did that for?
Yes, it was.
And I'm not familiar with it. Tell us about that game. Was it a graphics adventure, text adventure?
Text adventure.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of items you had to look for, like the Elven Sword, that sort of thing.
Is that still
couple
available
of monsters
anywhere?
to kill.
Yeah, is it anywhere?
I'm sure somebody's got it somewhere.
I wonder if it's somebody check the archive, see if it's on the color computer. The Caves of X-Lax. And what did it run under? Was it running in under Disk Basic or OS9?
Yeah, it was Disk Basic.
Was it written in BASIC or assembly C hybrid?
It was written in BASIC, but it was compiled to an executable.
Okay, all right. So compiled BASIC. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. Now, we're gonna have to look for that. Very cool.
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear about that thing again. See if it's still being played somewhere.
What other pieces of software have you produced that we should know about or we should talk about?
Good question. That's going to take some thought.
Okay.
Well, some of the stuff has been destroyed and gone, right? But did you have friends that had it, or?
Not really.
No.
I'm thinking a follow-up game might be the Chalice of Metamucil. That might be something where somebody could work on.
It could be called Pull My Finger.
I would say there has to be a floating copy of it around if Ben Drakes from the UK knows of its existence. So it's got to be
somewhere. I mean, no software really does.
Right.
It just gets archived somewhere.
So did you sell this, or did you publish it in Rainbow, or just give it away, or what?
Just give it away.
What time?
That's how I did all my software.
We need to ask Ben Drakes where he heard of it.
Yeah, Ben Drakes, where did you hear of it, and where is it available? And what about maybe the Caverns of Broken Wind? That could also be a good name for an adventure game. So.
These comments on YouTube are great also.
What about the quest for regularity?
Could be a potential situation there.
Yeah, so let's look at some of our YouTube comments. We've got a lot of as soon as the name Caves of X-Lax dropped, we got some comments here.
Yeah,
you did.
What a surprise!
OS 9 version, Ease of Pooh.
Yeah, Rob Inman says that was released quickly. Mark
He'd
Overall.
be a candidate for the Coco 2.
What was that?
Would he be a candidate for the Coco 2?
Who's that?
Who?
Well, the free one. The one Stevie's giving away.
Say that again. I lost. I got
Yeah.
Would he be a candidate for the Coco 2?
The giveaway.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, he doesn't have any.
You have no Cocos, Christopher?
I have none.
Okay, well, we do have a Coco that we were going to be giving away. And just an update on that, when I went ahead and plugged it in, it doesn't boot. It boots to a garbage screen. So I'm going to wait for Richard to get back, and I'm thinking maybe I will send it to Richard to have it fixed. But yeah, you would definitely be a candidate for the Coco 2 giveaway.
Do not put my name on the list. I got too much stuff around here now.
Ah, yes. Are you familiar with some of the new hardware that's available for the Cocos, like the Coco SDC and gosh, who knows what else?
I've heard things, but I've heard dribs and drabs of things here and there.
And are you familiar with the emulators? Have you played around with them somewhat?
I haven't seen a single solitary one yet.
You must have heard Nightmare Highway, though.
Nightmare Highway. You need to get to the Coco Fest this year.
Yes.
You get to the Coco Fest.
Yeah, this year is the 29th annual Last Chicago Coco Fest with celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Coco. It's going to be lit.
In this little box is an SDC. You put it in the end, and it has all the software that you've ever imagined. Like 8 gigabytes of.
It's not even that much.
Not that much.
Cool.
But
it's like 1 gigabyte.
Yeah, but it's all in this little chip, and it loads immediately. And it has a directory, and it's the most awesome thing you've ever seen. No need for your multi-pack to be sitting next to it. Although you can't get one, you can get a smaller one. They make a new one now.
Yeah.
And no floppy drives, just this.
Yeah.
It emulates a floppy and a hard drive basically simultaneously.
Yeah. It's awesome.
You can do just about anything you need to do with just a Coco SDC, but there's
It's made this hobby viable, I think. I don't think it would be as...
But if you don't have room, though, you should check out some of the emulators. Like there's VCC for the Coco 3. There's XOR that does the Dragons and the Coco 1 and 2.
Right.
MAME itself does all of them. So there's quite a few that you could do software with modern PCs if you want to get an itch to run or write the old software.
Right. And Curtis's partner in crime, Bill Noble, and also in Canada, he says he's got a Coco 2 to give away. So maybe we should have Bill give his away to someone in Canada, so we don't have to ship it far, and we'll still have one to give away in the States. So thanks for that.
That's feasible.
Yeah, thanks for that offer there, Bill Noble.
Or I could bring it down to
bring it down to
Fest and
Coco
give it away there if you want.
Yeah. True. Keep the questions coming for Chris. So. You mentioned one of your first great pride moments was just running a program and not having it crash or error out. What are some of your other memories from your 13 episodes you did and maybe club meetings and things like that? What were some of the what did you ever see at a club meeting that blew you away as far as a demo or something like that when it was a new product?
Well, it wasn't so much the demos at the club meetings. It was the things that were going on.
You mean like copying software?
No. the usual group activities.
Yeah.
Like once the library staff had accidentally left the door to the back room open where they have their little lounge, and one of the members went in there just to see what was going on. The door closed behind him. He locked himself in.
He locked himself in the employee lounge.
Well,
at least he had booze to keep him alive, right? So,
if it hadn't been for the fact that one of us had tools in our car and could take the door off the hinges.
Oh my goodness! Wow,
there'd have been trouble.
Wow.
No, we never really got an answer earlier, but like you mentioned, the caves of Xlax there. What was some of the other software that you put out and released? Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. What did I make?
Like you mentioned, you did some work on a BBS before you guys switched to ribs, so that would be one, obviously.
Right.
Did you ever bring in stuff from like Rainbow Magazine and adapt it, change it, or did you even get Rainbow Magazine at the time?
Oh yeah, I had got Rainbow Magazine regularly, and the only thing I ever had in there was one of their pictures of the month. It's something called Island. It's it wasn't anything special. You know, it's a small island with a great big sunset behind it.
Hmm.
One of those things.
Okay.
Oh, he did some artwork.
Yeah.
But
I think
the
there might have
artwork
even
was
been a little coconut in the sand or something.
Was it like computer generated, like it did the drawing and the painting and stuff to generate the image?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are kind of cool.
Did it on McPaint.
Okay. A hand drawn
You
one.
know,
Okay.
I just put that up on Ron's garage recently. Remember this type of thing?
Yeah.
Do you remember what issue that was?
Oh, I wish I could.
All right.
That's the problem with old age, you know.
Oh yeah.
The stuff that's a slight bit insignificant, it slips away too easily.
Did you ever have, like, for lack of a better term, like a celebrity come to your any of your clubs? Because I know, like, Steve Bjork used to go to the club meetings in California. That had to be cool to meet Steve Bjork back when he was making new games. Did you have anything like that?
Never once.
Ah.
It was always just a just us thing.
Local. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why CoCoTALK's so cool. We've had a bunch of the guys come here. Geez, who are some of the guys we've had? We had
Well, we've got Rick and Nick are both here right now.
We got Ron Delvaux. We've got
come on.
Nick Marotta.
We had Dale Lear. We've had Chris Latham, who did Donkey King and Sailor Man.
Yeah. The problem becomes that's funny when he lifts up his boom mic. I get the feedback because his microphone's picking up his head. So you got some space between your ears, I think, because your microphone's picking it up. So
that mutes it. There's a little switch inside here. And when you raise it up, it switches off the microphone.
Well, I was hearing some feedback, but that's fine. We've had so many people; it's hard to remember everybody. But I'll try to just go through my own mental checklist. Like Rick Adams was our first, for lack of a better term, celebrity interview that we got, and then Rick Adams got us in with Dale Lear, and I'm very glad I got to meet Dale and speak to Dale before, unfortunately, he passed, and that was great to get to know him. Dale Lear, who did Double Back and Color Baseball and DL Logo for OS9, a bunch of things like that.
Rick did Shanghai and Temple of Rome.
Temple of Rome and Shanghai and Delphi term, and Lord knows.
We did have a few programs that had their wares shown in various CoCo magazines.
That's cool. So
they were actually members of our club.
Okay.
We had Mike Randazzo and Keith Alfonso.
Okay.
Oh, Keith was in there. I met Keith. We used his AlphaSoft BBS for quite a while. We actually used some of it at work for a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Rick's here right now. Rick's on the call, so Rick can say hi. If Rick doesn't speak up, I've got a soundbite for him.
Thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
No, but it's cool. I tell you, one of my favorite memories from my computer club was seeing the original Graphicom, seeing that program demoed. I mean, that thing sold out like hotcakes. We saw the demo of like the 4 cubes that got animated in a circle, and you could move the joystick to adjust the speed of the animation. That was like mind blowing, and everybody in the club.
Cat.
Yeah. So once that was demoed, the whole club bought that game at that moment. It was like that was an insta sell. That was a no brainer. Let's buy it, gotta have it type thing. So. Just remember if you had anything like that, like you saw a really cool program where like, man, I gotta have this.
Oh yeah, that got shown, man. That was the bee's knees.
Oh yeah.
Everybody wanted it. Nowadays, you show that in a demo, it's like, eh.
In our club, we had a guy who could program music on Musica, and he would, get requests at the club meeting to make a song. Next week, he'd come back and have the song done for whoever, and it was thrilling. Just the guy did stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Right. What is Robert Murphy saying? I sure don't it looks pretty cool was hoping to see it, maybe if the collection was around, but it seems the rainbow is all I can find. Am I missing something before that from Robert Murphy?
Yeah, he's referring to the there was a collection that actually had the X-Lax game on it.
Oh,
and it was mentioned in Rainbow. As
okay. There was
advertised
a collection. And
CRT collection.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
trying to figure out the name.
Okay, the CRT collection.
CRT. C.R.T. Yeah. So
Okay.
I was like, what does that stand for?
All right. And then we also had, we interviewed the image producers who were some of the early pioneers of making some of the software for the CoCo before the CoCo was even produced. So they had worked on the prototype CoCo. What did they call that? The executive wood grain model, or they had a name for that, right? So
there's a circuit board nailed onto plywood. Basically
it was
locked
on
in a
plywood
room with a passcode to get into it.
So they were developing software for the machine that had not been finalized yet, and so we got to hear some of those stories. That was pretty cool. Yeah, there are some of the people in the live chat. We got to speak to Jerry Buckner and Garcia, right?
Not Jerry Garcia. Jerry Garcia.
Yes, so not Gary Garcia, but I'm drawing a blank right now. But yes, so half of the Pac-Man Fever guys we got to speak to. Of course, we mentioned Rick Adams. Steve Bjork has been on the show. So we haven't gotten to talk to a lot of the people from back in the day, which is cool. That luckily some of us are still here, right? So knock on wood, and to be able to share those stories is great.
Well, we had Marty Goodman on too.
Marty Goodman, oh yeah. Now, do you have you gotten recognized like out in public where somebody says, "Oh, you're that guy from those shows"? Have you ever had somebody like see you and come up to you and say hi or anything like that?
It's been a long time, but a couple of times I was recognized on the street.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. That's never happened to me, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Usually when the people on the street see me, they walk the other way. So yeah.
That means you were recognized.
Yeah, not in a good way. Right. So, yeah, I'd imagine now too. If you come to CoCo Fest, I know a lot of people would want to come and shake your hand because those videos are just. It's such a. It's history. It's literally history, and then luckily we've got them preserved. You know.
You're like a trailblazer too. Nobody was doing that kind of stuff back then. Oh, I mean, people rarely did cable access, although it's been around for a long time and it's open to everyone. You know, you were one of the few people that actually took advantage of it.
Yeah, there were a few cassette-based ones, like Dennis Kitts did one on assembly language, and there was a Color Computer Learning Lab where you had some audio tapes, but nobody had ever done video before yours, as far as I know.
And Dennis Kitts was on the show.
Yeah, Dennis was been on the show. Marty Goodman's been on the show.
Dale Puckett's been on.
Dale Puckett. Yeah. We got was it Frank Hogg? Who was the
Frank was on.
Frank Hogg.
Sockmaster.
Guy from Microware.
Alan Battinger.
Alan Battinger from Microware. Yeah. So we've had a lot of people come out of the woodworks and
this is like a living, breathing thing that we're saving for the future for people that beyond us. So pick up the color computer and go, what is this?
Right. And you still got a full head of hair, which is better than half our panel here, so that's good. So we put all of our panel together. We've got a full head of hair and a full set of teeth. So and it takes about 24 of us to do that. So Ron Delvau's beard makes up for the hair follicle deficit. So
I have a couple quick questions.
Now you got an overabundance here.
Yes, we do. Go ahead, Curtis. Curtis had a question.
Yeah, I have two actually. Were you strictly a software guy, or were you also into hardware? Like, did you design your own circuit boards or fiddle with a soldering iron in any way? Or
I tinkered with some electronics, but I didn't do major things. So I was mostly software.
Okay. And then back in the day too, like before the BBS scene really took off, were you into some of the big online services like CompuServe or Delphi or Genie? Were you a regular on any of those, or?
I was a regular on CompuServe.
Yay! Do you remember?
I might have talked to you way back when then too, because your name did stand up when I found your videos on YouTube, and I was on CompuServe starting about 83, 84, I think, somewhere around there. So,
do you remember your number?
Oh hell no!
No, I remember mine.
Yeah, some of it's ingrained in our memory for some reason.
722-07-3122.
Cool.
Hold your card bingo has been called.
Okay. I got my own YouTube channel now. Y'all got to visit that.
Okay, what's on it?
I
Sermons?
not whole sermons, but I cover topics of religion, plus some
Okay.
topics of humor, topics of technology.
Oh
that
yeah,
sort of
that
thing.
sounds great. What is it?
Stevie, what happened over there?
What now?
So who posted the videos of your
He's
series,
putting on
then?
his Rondelvo kit.
Who is it that posted the videos of your instructional series?
Okay, that's Tom Seagrove's YouTube channel, and he got it from Boise.
Okay.
Yeah, Boise called me up on the phone and said, "Oh, you mind if we sell copies of these on Cloud9 software?" I said, "No, I don't mind. That's the whole idea, was to get the information out there."
Yeah.
So he did that, and then next thing I know, they putting copies on Tom Seagrove's channel. It's like, cool.
Did Boise contact you in any way about the Coco history book that he and Bill did?
He may have mentioned something. I don't remember.
Say the name of it. What's the name of the book?
Oh, let me grab it here. I'll even show it on screen. And you can see it there. It's Coco, The Colorful History of Tandy's Underdog Computer.
Yeah, I want to get that book.
Where is it at?
Amazon.
You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're showing us the book, we didn't see it.
It's physical and ebook.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, it didn't show up on the screen there? Was I holding my...
No, I didn't see it.
Here, try it again.
Well, just because we have fuzzy spotlighted.
Oh. Oh, there it is.
There we go. Oh. And just that fast. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, looks awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice history book. It even goes into some of the unreleased stuff like the deluxe color computer and stuff too. So it's quite a good book.
Cool. Cool.
So how much did you find out about CoCoTALK? Have you heard anything about us, or when I started bothering you?
That's about when I found out about it.
Yeah. The really surprising thing is you actually agreed to come on after all that,
Yeah.
learning about the show. So
Well, I every once in a while I'd ring him up and ask him, well, what do you think? And I'd do some sales points and then leave. I didn't really try and pester you too bad or anything.
Yeah.
But he actually said
well, the fact that you didn't pester me too much is what got me here.
Good. Good.
Did you tell us what your YouTube channel was?
No, I didn't. Let's see, youtube.com/C/Reverend Fuzzy.
So do you have a church with how many people in it?
What was that?
So you have an actual church building? You're a pastor, or?
It's a home church right now.
Excellent.
Okay. So you're just a handful.
Mm-hmm.
now, when you were first becoming a pastor, etc., did you use the Coco at all within your church stuff, or was that after Katrina that you got into that, or timeline?
That was after Katrina.
Oh, okay. I know Brother Jeremy's mentioned that he used to design his sermons, everything else on his Cocos back in the day too. So I just was wondering if it was maybe a crossover there with you as well.
Yeah, everything I was doing back then, the only thing I could find was something that ran Windows. I know. But I advanced on that too in software. I learned to do Visual Basic and C#. So I was making some nice little applications on there as well.
Did you use like Telewriter 64 or any of the newer ones? Applications in the Coco?
No. Let's see. They had that one program that was a WordStar clone.
ScreenStar, I think it was called.
Might be.
It's by Computerware, if it's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. We had use of that, and some of the stuff that Keith Alfonso put out, the Presto partner, and a few other things he did too.
I don't know how you guys do this beard thing. I'm just finding it to be very warm and itchy right now. So,
Because that's just like having a real beard.
Yes. So.
On me.
You haven't lived till you've saved some food from there for later.
Oh, the flavor saver. Huh? Did you enjoy playing games on the Coco, or are you more of like a utility, real world worky type stuff?
I was halfway in and halfway out on both of those.
Okay.
I like the games, and I like to write some too.
Yeah.
Now, if I could only remember what they all were.
Yeah, right.
Were there a variety of games, or were they mostly like text adventure type stuff, or did you get into doing arcade games?
Mostly text adventures. I can remember putting together the grids to figure out which room went where, but can't for the life of me remember what the names of the games were.
Wow.
I mean, Caves of X-Lax was the only one I actually remember.
That's such a great name.
It does have a pretty unique title, so I could see why.
Yeah. It was very easy, just put together a grid on a piece of one of those
graph paper or whatever, right?
Yeah, with all the lines on it.
Right. And then
I just did that. Then I knew exactly which way which room would go. Bunch of if-thens.
Okay, that's how I would have thought I would have done it back in the day too. And later on, I learned a better way to do it was put them all into an array and make a table and then move around. But early on, I was thinking I would do it that way too, with a bunch of if-then statements. I think later on, I wrote one for MS-DOS because I bought a book and stuff, and they suggested doing the array.
And as far as your game development, did you do that all under Disk Basic, or did you do some of that in OS9 later on too, or was OS9 more like utilities and BBS stuff and that kind of thing?
OS9 was utilities. Utilities are easier on OS9. And I haven't found another operating system where you could open up an entire disk as a file.
Yeah. So here's an important question. When it comes to Joust clones, are you a Lancer or a buzzard bait guy?
What is Joust?
Okay, well then there's a running
it's a buzzard
debate.
bait clone.
It's a guy looking like you on a horse.
Keep in mind, I've been out of this game for a while.
Yeah.
It's all right. We're having fun with you now.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
So
cool.
We are the second kind of broadcast show dedicated to the Coco. There's been a podcast that's been around for 4 years now called the Coco Crew Podcast, which is a monthly audio program that comes out. That was one of my inspirations for going to Coco Fest and later on starting this show. And there's a third podcast now too with a couple of guys who do nothing but play Coco games, the Amigos Retro Gaming guys. So there's now 3 sources of Coco media on a fairly regular basis, and there's great consumerism for Coco content right now. And a lot of this is, kind of echoing some of the legacy that you started, creating this kind of community content of get out your Coco, do something with your Coco. You were one of the pioneers of that, and all of us now are just kind of paying it forward a little bit. So we definitely need to, I'm glad that I'm personally able to say thank you to you in person. I'm sure a lot of other people here are too.
Quite welcome.
Yeah. Would you have imagined when you did your public access videos that 40 years later there would be 3 other programs for the Coco that are being consumed on a regular basis?
Not a clue.
It's amazing, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
Well, we'll have to set him up with emulators. VCC one is probably the easiest one to download and put ROMs in and get working. The Coco as the Coco Pi.
Yeah, you're familiar with the Raspberry Pi?
I've got 2 of them.
Okay. Do you have a Raspberry Pi 3 or 3B?
Yes, I do.
Okay, there's
Both of them are 3Bs.
Okay, you can download an image that you can just burn onto an SD card that boots up into a CoCo-specific emulation for Raspberry Pi 3. We can help you with that.
Cool.
So,
Don't
and then
there are
suppose
actually
OS
new.
9, huh?
you can.
Yeah,
OS 9's on there. So Curtis,
All right.
Nitrous
Yeah.
9's actually on there. Yeah.
Nitrous 9. Are you familiar
Cool.
with Nitrous 9?
Are you
That
familiar
ought to
with
be
that?
nice.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
There are
Yeah.
actually new games under development too that'll run under those emulators that are
Yeah.
coming out shortly.
Yeah,
Remember-
we're gonna showcase Rick Adams' update to Temple of Rom
Got Temple of
today.
Rom 2. We got Gunstar. We
Nick
got
Marentes. Yeah.
and
Digger 3 from
Digger
Chuck Simpson.
3.
Yeah.
I was thinking Gold Digger. Yeah, Digger 3.
There's a port of the Apple II version of Oregon Trail coming out now
Yeah.
too. So
Well,
We're actually pretty active for a 40-year-old system that was kind of the underdog at the time anyway. So
yeah. Yep.
It's amazing.
yeah, and as Sixie, who's from the UK as well, pointed out, he's the author of XOR. He's also mentioned there's a couple of emulators that are online, ones you can do in a browser too, so you don't even
Yeah.
need to dedicate anything if you wanted to fire it up and give it a shot.
I have a computer here. The Coco 3 has one mega RAM on it, and the one next to it has 2 mega RAM on it, and the newer processor. And we're starting to do really neat things with replacement for the Gimme chip. Cool. And there's going to be new modes of display.
Yeah.
Somebody fill them in.
Yeah, there's new hardware and new software still coming out, still actively being developed, and there's a bunch of things coming out this year. So it's an active community.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a great time to be a Coco nut. There's never been a better time to be a Coco nut. It's just like
nothing.
You know what I'd like to see somebody come up with is an Arduino IDE for the Coco.
Arduino IDE.
Mm-hmm.
You mean
That would
hard
be
drive
awesome.
interface?
Well, he should
Oh,
talk
no.
to Paul.
No, it's a development environment.
You should talk
Yeah.
to Paul.
Yeah, the Arduino, they have an IDE that works on just about every platform so far, where you can actually
Oh.
put together the software, then upload it directly to the microcontroller.
Oh, okay.
If you use LWASM with it, which is a cross-platform assembler and stuff from William Astle, you can probably set it up with that because that runs on Linux, it runs on Windows, it runs on OS 10 or whatever. So
Yeah.
You also have Phoenix.
yeah, Roger Taylor's.
Yeah, there are some cross-platform tools where you can do Coco development on a modern computer, but you're saying you want to do one. Are you saying you want to be able to program an Arduino chip from the color computer?
Yes, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. That is interesting.
That sounds like a wager.
hold my beer.
Sounds like a good challenge.
We got to get
Especially
this
with
guy some hardware.
Yeah.
Especially with these Arduinos getting so cheap right now. Man, I just put out, what was it, $15 and got a box of 4 Arduino Nanos. It's like, wow.
And there has
I
been
got
some
a nut-
other Arduino based projects on the Coco before. I mean, Alan Huffman was working on some sound stuff with Arduino and stuff. So there's multiple things
Cool.
already in development.
And some of us do Telnet on our Coco still.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
useful.
cool.
To BBSs, there's a bunch of BBSs around.
Yeah. Of course, Telnet is going out of style, being replaced by SSH.
Well,
Right. Well, this is mostly to connect to bulletin boards, so they're using
Yeah,
Telnet
we're-
as a.
we're living dangerously.
We don't need encryption.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing going out of style is bulletin boards. Now everybody's got a website.
Yeah. It used to be,
There's
when-
tons of bulletin boards still.
back in
in
my
case you-
day, going online was calling into a bulletin board, so.
Or copy
And for those of you that are interested, mine's msbministries.org.
MSB, is that your bulletin board or your website?
That's my website.
Oh, feel free to plug that. Absolutely. msbministries.org.
That's the one. Yeah, you'll know you're in the right spot if you go there. You see a picture of me on it.
Yeah, I love your hats. You have a cool one on Facebook too, or YouTube too.
Oh yeah. And I got one on Twitter as well.
Now, are you a member on the Coco groups on Facebook? Kind of keep track of what's going on.
Yeah, Ron just got me into those.
Okay. Have you been on the mailing list at all? You've been following the Coco mailing list?
No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So do we want to maybe take a quick break? We'll take a commercial break and then we'll come back. And then if we have more questions for Chris, we can. And if not, we can go on to other things. And if you have time to hang out with us, Fuzzy, feel free to hang out and just chime in as we go along. But we'll start to talk about some of the other things that are going on in the community, and that might spark some memories that you want to bring up and stuff.
That would be cool.
All right, so we're going to take about a 2 to 3 minute commercial break. So, Ron, you have permission to go to the bathroom now if you need to.
Yay!
And everybody, get out your combs and comb your beards while we're here. And we'll be back after these words. And thank you for being with us, Christopher Mayeux, Fuzzy, and we'll be back with more Coco Talk after these words.
Hi everybody, this is Siri, Apple's personal assistant and beatbox professional. You're watching CoCoTALK with the original gamer, Stevie Stroh.
You're off, Siri. I was here first.
We'll return after these announcements.
What's going on, everybody? Stevie Stroh, and I want to say thank you for continuing to watch and listen to Coco Talk. We love doing this show. We think we put together a pretty good show for you, but this show could be better with your help. So if you would like to send a feedback, a comment, a suggestion, a show topic, or maybe even your own little segment or bumper, then send it to us via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live. This show would be nothing without you. Love to hear from you.
This is Ken Reichert, author of Nightmare Highway.
Nightmare Highway.
And you're experiencing Coco Talk?
As you start your journey to Coco Fest, you notice the road ahead is littered with rogue furniture. You realize you are driving on the Nightmare Highway.
Nightmare Highway.
The game for the Tandy Color Computer 1, 2, and 3. Nightmare Highway.
Nightmare Highway.
Stunning low-resolution visuals. Digital to analog converted sound. 100% machine language and basic. What are they saying about Nightmare Highway?
Nightmare Highway.
Steve B. York says, of all the games released this year, this is one of them. L. Kurt S. Boyle says, this will not be on my site. Nick Marionette says, crikey, look at the size of that crock. Get your complimentary copy of Nightmare Highway.
Nightmare Highway.
At cancanmakeit.com. If you got it for free, you paid too much.
Hey there, it's Andrew here with the Tandy speech and sound cartridge that I won from Coco Talk Live. So next time, make sure to tune in. It may change your life.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home. Instant loading program packs turn any color TV into an exciting game arcade. And there's more. The color computer is an educational aid, a home management tool, an up-to-the-minute electronic information service. The programmable, expandable TRS-80 color computer from $399 only at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
Greetings, YouTubers. Atari Leaf here, and you're listening to Coco Talk.
Radio Shack has a great gift idea for the whole family. Fast action TV games, and they're on sale. Get this 6-game model for $29.95 or the 4-game model for $21.95. With rising entertainment cost, that's a real bargain. You play hockey, tennis, squash, and more. Easy to hook up and great family fun that lasts all year long. The sale price TV games. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
We now return you to Coco Talk.
All right, we are back. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So far. Is this thing on? Is Curtis there?
Yes.
Okay, Curtis, you have news, yes?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get into the news with L. Curtis Boyle, we have a new Coco Thoughts. Coco Thoughts is an ongoing series, a segment, if you will. I'm trying to find it here. Samuel Gimes, for those of you not familiar with Samuel Gimes is a deep thinker. and he often has thoughts that he wants to share with us. And
as deep as the caves of X-Lax.
Yes, deep as the caves of X-Lax. So right now, you guys are going to experience the latest Coco Thought. And here, before we do that, we have Keith Alfonso live on Facebook. Says, "Hey Chris, reach out from Keith Alfonso. Remember the days back in Charmers, or Calmet?
Chalmette, yeah.
Chalmette. Yes. Okay. Chalmette, sorry. He had a little typo there. Auto incorrect, right? All right, so here we go. Here's our latest Coco Thoughts, and it might be topical. It might even be funny. Let's see.
And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. In Florida, when the temperature drops below 50 degrees, residents think they have been thrust into a real-life game of Ice Master.
That's just good. That's good comedy right there. Yeah, I did have a horrible Florida winter day just the other day. It got below 40 degrees, and I was besides myself. So I want to thank you all.
Though.
I did. Thank you all for your thoughts and prayers.
You're stronger for it.
Yes, thoughts
Just
and prayers.
don't launch any space shuttles.
So there's the latest one. So yeah, so that's Keith Alfonso. So saying hi.
Actually, maybe a shout out to Keith if you want to join the call and talk with Chris and reminisce about some old times here. Please come online.
Yeah, love to hear that from you as well. Robin Inman says, I appreciate the Kelvin translation too. Bill Noble's also saying, hey Keith, nice to hear you. All right, so how about we do this? This is a professional show. So we're going to start off by introducing our news segment, and then we're going to get into the news with L. Curtis Boyle. It's time for news from around the web with your host, L. Curtis Boyle.
And now a Muppet News Flash.
All right, so L. Curtis Boyle is going to bring us what's new and exciting in the world of
As soon
Coco
as sharing
news.
stopped, I shall do so.
Sharing is ready. You have the share, senor.
Okay.
On screen, number one.
Are we seeing that?
We are seeing this.
Okay, first up, TJAB Chris, whom we've talked about some of his pretty intricate YouTube videos before. He's gone through like OS 9, permissions when you log in with multiple users and all kinds of fancy things like that. But we've never been able to comment on his videos because he always has comments turned off, because YouTube comments. But he's got some new videos up. But he's also now on Facebook and he's joined the Coco groups. You can actually talk to him, which a few of us have been doing a little bit concerning these last couple of videos he posted up. So it's great that he's actually on where we can actually interact with him because he's done some really interesting stuff, which he's continuing to do this week. So the first part here is that he has a video showing exactly how the deload command on the Coco 1 and 2 works. And he also wrote a server program on his Model 16, another TRS-80. And he has basically an explanation of how the whole protocol works. And then he kind of goes through and shows it running on the Coco as the receiving end. He shows it running his little server software on the TRS-80 Model 16 end. So I'll see if I can fast forward a bit here. That's showing that deload is broken on the Coco 3. It doesn't work at all. So you have to use
And for those of us like me who are ignorant, what is deload?
That was to download over the serial port from another computer.
Ah, okay.
Which was used back in the day, I think, more for classroom type stuff that you could download, from the teacher's computer to the student's computer.
Oh, when they had that shared serial bus?
The box with the,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So he's got a C program he wrote on the Model 16 running Xenix, which is kind of an OS 9 Unix style operating system that basically handles the packets and everything else. And he's got like a flow chart explaining how the whole protocol works and how it acknowledges packets and blah, 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 which watch the video for all the details on that. And there he's actually running the server or starting to run the server. I don't know if you guys can read that on the stream here, but basically he's got a test that he actually did where it actually tests. He's got two. There's a packet header that has the title of the file that you want to download because you can type download, the file name.
Yeah, get file name test. Yeah.
And I like the fact that Christopher actually has a magnifying glass up to read that. That's cool. But basically, you have this packet, and it comes with a little header thing. It does a checksum to make sure that nothing was corrupted, and then it actually does the file. It breaks into little packet-sized chunks, and then downloads the file. And those dots you can see there are the actual sending of the bytes
Okay.
on the Model 16 side. And oops, I think Brad went a bit too far there.
All right, look at that. So now he's playing a game of, here's deload test.
Okay, let's list it.
Can you guys hear the audio?
Yep.
And that's it. And if I run it, it just kind of
So that program that you just saw the listing for, you just
have it
downloaded
on.
from his Model 16 across on the serial cable.
3, which isn't quite as obnoxious.
So there's different file names that it has access to.
How high
Yep,
should I
you
count?
specify the file names you want to download, and he added some extensions to it to be able to get a
So that's
directory
it.
back. It comes
Now,
back as
what
a
happens
basic
if I load
program
a
that you
file
run
that
that
does not
then tells you all the
exist?
files that are available on the server. So he kind of did some little extensions to it.
Wow. That is impressive.
You get an NE error. Let's take a
There
look
he
at
tried
that
to
on
load
the
one
Model
that doesn't
16.
exist on his
Okay,
Model
so on the
16.
Model 16, you can see that a handshake came in. It got the file name buzzard. Checksum checked out, but it didn't find the file, so it updated flag 1 to send an NE or non-existent error to the client. And that's what happened. But wait, there's more. So in doing this, now the
Now how
initial
much would you
article
pay?
had program would allow you to save to the other side, to the host, by printing to the serial port. And his program would listen for the handshake byte for the printer, and it would then save it to a file on the Model 1. I'm not doing that. I could, but I really just kind of wanted to explore the deload command. But I did do a couple of other interesting things for it, or one other really interesting thing, I guess. And that is, I gave...
And that's going to be the tease for you to go watch the video.
Ah, teaser. Teaser. You're a tease, Curtis.
Yeah. I've already watched the
he did
video.
do a sequel video a couple of days later, too. Where he's actually ported the server part to run on a Raspberry Pi.
Oh, wow.
Which I think
His
he also
cam-
he did some extensions to the Model 16 version too, but
His camera's pretty nice.
yeah,
It's clear.
Again, in the interest of not running as a super user, chmod your serial port so that you can read it when you reboot the machine.
Chmod. That's a Michael Jackson command. Chmod.
So, or you could add yourself to the dial-out group, depending on your distro. But either way, that aside, let's just give this run. Same syntax, dev, tty, USB 1. You can see we are awaiting a response, so I'm going to hit it up on the color computer.
Boom. Test came through. And it's sending payload,
Okay,
and
that's
it's
that.
done.
Now I'll do a command mode one.
I'd probably run on a Mac too.
yeah, it's a fairly simple C program. So
Yeah.
there's this extension he did where doing the dir command, where it sends a list of the files that are
Finally,
available.
something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it builds a basic program that outputs essentially the directory.
Yeah, which the original deload command did not do.
Right,
There we have it, an NE error. So, it seems to work pretty well. This is my Raspberry Pi, the same one that I use for my UUCP gateway and my proxy server for the Tandy 40.
And Christopher, you were mentioning you have some Raspberry Pis, so
Okay, so here's the Pi. Same Pi, and I just have a USB to serial adapter. Your mileage may vary with these things. I've had some pretty terrible USB to serial adapters. So if one's not working, try another one. Depending on how you construct your cable, you may need a null modem. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise,
that's pretty
Anyway,
cool.
it's a pretty interesting thing, and he's actually uploaded the source code for the server too. So if anybody wants to get it for the Raspberry Pi, or if you happen to have a Model 16 lying around, which is probably pretty rare, you can actually go download it, compile it, and actually run it yourself. So
neat.
And all Coco 1s and 2s come with the deload command built in. I don't know if the Dragon does. Is that deload built in the Dragon?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay, but anyway, if you have a Coco 1 and 2 and you want another way, it's kind of like ancient drive wire.
Right.
Drive wire.
Yeah.
Drive wire.
Channeling David Ladd.
More drive wire, please.
Yeah, I think the D in deload stood for data load. I think that's what that was
Or
supposed to.
download, I'm not even sure. I know it was a Microsoft protocol, and Microsoft had published some fairly hard to find articles on exactly how the protocol worked.
Oh, you know what happened when the people in Australia saw this book here called Electronics Australia? You know what they said?
I can guess.
Crikey.
Crikey, yes.
Ironically,
Look at the size of that digital thermometer.
Ironically, considering this is an Electronics Australia magazine, and Carlos Camacho's is the one that actually posted the link to it.
Yeah.
They had to hold it upside down to read it.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a review of the Coco 1. I guess when it was first released in Australia, this is the February 1982 issue of this magazine. So I'm guessing, most magazines put their publishing date a few months ahead to keep it on the newsstands longer. So I'm guessing the Coco must have only been released in 81 in Australia. Nick, can you confirm that?
Sounds right. Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I've got that magazine somewhere, so I should dig it out and have a read on it.
They did spell color wrong, though. Or
No,
technically,
right.
they spelled it right.
It's the right way.
Color.
You're all messed up, Steve.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that before. Like the Coco 1 got released in North America, Canada, States, both, around the fall of 1980. And I remember seeing them up here around that time period. I didn't realize it was like a year delay before it hit Australia.
On the other hand, that's when the magazine came out with the review. The computer may have come out.
Oh, maybe. That could be.
So it could be just the magazine's review, yeah.
But I think they do label it as a brand new. Let me see here, because the next link.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unusual for products like that to be delayed somewhat.
Especially with different countries, they had to make the PAL version, 50 hertz and everything else too. So, but there's the full review.
I do have a Tandy 1980 catalog. I can look that up, an Australian one, so I can just look it up. If the Coco's in there, there you go. It was released in 1980.
You also got to do a spelling correction, get the proper U's in there.
Yeah.
Is that Dino Wars?
Yeah, you got Dino Wars. That looks like maybe a picture from the catalog. You got Dino Wars on the cartridges going, and then there's some pictures from the basic manual with the 3D graphics you could do with the draw command and some of the colors and stuff.
Yeah, I recognize that.
I got
both of those are sample programs from the manuals. The first one's the blackjack game from the original 4K Coco. That was the big 4K showcase game that was in the manual. And the second one's from the extended basic manual.
I must have typed that in then because I really recognize that.
So how many cartridges were released for the Coco when it came out 4K? Do you know?
There was a decent...
The initial launch, you mean? Or the life of the Coco?
No, initial launch.
Probably just a handful.
There was about 6. There was 9 mentioned in the catalog. 6 were released at once, and then the other 3 trailed a little bit later.
How do you know this?
Curtis is just a walking encyclopedia. Yeah. He's a history buff.
Sometimes I even say correct facts. But,
right?
Oh, gee.
Hey,
I'll let you guess if that was or not.
Yeah, hold on one second, Curtis. Let's say hi to somebody in Facebook here. We just got a wave from John Hebert in Facebook Live. He says, "Hey guys, new to the Coco community. I inherited a TRS-82 well over a decade ago. Played it a couple of times and then put it away. And now actually interested in learning how to properly use my new TRS and other applications and fun stuff to do with it." And when you say TRS-82, are you talking about the color computer 2 or the Model 2, which was their monochrome system? But either way, John, hello and welcome. And back to you, Curtis. Oh, look at that. The page just flipped. Wow. How did you do that?
Magic. Now it's just built into archive.org.
This is all part of that same Australian magazine?
Yep. So same part of the review too.
This is a great write-up. This is a really good write-up. Yeah.
Yep. Goes into sounds
C.
There's 2 black beauties sitting right in front of us.
Yeah, look at those things.
Yep. You guys might recognize those from the color basic and extended.
Oh yeah.
Our boards don't come back. Is that a boomerang?
Right.
Hey,
joke?
Did that picture of the manual in the beginning have the full pages? I think it did.
What was the question?
The manual in the beginning of with the Color Computer 1. It had more than 23 pages.
Oh, you mean chapters?
Yeah.
The very first release of it actually only had
13
parts 1 through 3, so it had 13 chapters.
All right.
I actually had one of those here for a while, and then all the stuff in the semi-language graphics and all the advanced stuff wasn't in there because it wasn't ready, and then they republished it later.
Right. I do remember that demo of the Coco blow-up doll too. You guys remember doing that one?
So
that was when you had to use audio on and motor on to actually get it to talk, and it would blink the mouth and the eyes. We won't talk about what Stevie was using it for, but that's what its original purpose was.
That was my first girlfriend. I made her say inappropriate things to me. Yeah, and that demo, the graph demo, that was just so cool to see stuff like that, the little sine waves and everything.
Yeah.
Did they have a final recommendation, yay or nay?
Back in the day, you would have had to like hand run those on graph paper, so to have the computer plot them in real time is a real step forward.
Absolutely.
Well, the summary paragraph says the perfect computer, well, almost. After all, the worth of a computer is how well it fulfills the user's requirements. If you want a compact, relatively inexpensive color graphic system for home or hobby use, the TRS-80 color computer has a lot going for it. So it got a pretty good review.
Okay.
It's really all you need.
So it's really all you need.
That's
Except for
Channel 8.
Anyway, that was a pretty interesting dig out of the past. I had not seen that article before. I'd never even heard of the magazine before, so it was interesting.
What was that next thing? What was the next thing they were showing? The next thing.
Yeah, I thought there was more to the article, but
that's just something else. That is
not CoCo related.
That's a cricket. Look at that. Yeah, crikey! Look at that cricket. Crikey. Yes. That's really cool, though. I love seeing those little slices of history, especially when they're kind of hidden gems.
I remember the Byte magazine one when they first did the 6 and 9 and then later did the first CoCo 1 review too. So that was one I used to own. Unfortunately, I lost that one over the years.
And we've been joined in the live chat by DeBruce Moore. Hello, Bruce. And it looks like the new Joey and CoCo is now available. I've just checked that. That's there.
Okay, we'll segue into that afterwards.
Yep.
Next up, Chet. I was hoping you'd be on the call today to give some thoughts and explanation beyond just this brief cursory thing. But basically, he's been trying to design a little hardware cartridge that would go into plug into the cartridge port that would allow you to send what scan line do you want to trigger an interrupt on the screen. The CoCo 1 and 2, you don't really have an easy way to do it except counting H-sync. So you're constantly doing really fast interrupts, and unfortunately, the internal H-sync triggers an IRQ, not an FIRQ, so it takes a lot of overhead to push all the registers and stack and pull them all back off. So you've basically blown half the time that you have just preserving the state.
Translation will follow.
It should have been an FIRQ, let's put it that way, which is what Nick and Chet and everybody else use for doing background sound on a CoCo 3 because we actually can control that. So he's planning on doing one here where you actually just tell it, on scan line 50, trigger an interrupt. So you don't have to sit there and count them all or have a separate timer set up for it. So you can actually mix like a high definition interrupt for doing sound backgrounds, and then also have this special sync for, say you want to change palettes on the bottom half of the screen or the bottom quarter for a special display, or you want to turn the horizontal or vertical scrolling on or off. Like in Chet's case, you may want to keep the bottom of the screen to have the score and the number of free men without having the screen scroll over the place. Like if you guys have played Crystal City, you'll see where the score kind of bounces around because he's trying to time the interrupt there. So he's designing a very simple little hardware card that would actually do this with less CPU overhead. And the nice side effect is it would work on a CoCo 1 and 2 too, which doesn't even have a way to do that very easily. So you could be able to do some background sound effects on that a lot easier than you could. So it's a pretty interesting little cartridge, and it sounds like it's a fairly easy hardware design. I'm not a hardware guy. And Chet says he hasn't done too much of it either, but he thinks it'll work. So I'm interested to see what kind of things people can come up with that card if he actually gets it out. And it should be fairly cheap too, because it's apparently not too hard on the hardware side. Mm-hmm. Anybody that on the panel here that's actually hardware oriented that wants to comment on that?
Something like this would be good to build into the Gimme X coming out by Ed, because you can do that with software. Then you wouldn't need hardware. You can actually encode the FPGA that's on the Gimme X to do this sort of thing for you.
Yeah, and then you can free up the FIRQ, etc., for other purposes instead of trying to double, like you did on Popstar. I think you mentioned you did some tricks like this too, but you had to
can do it
that.
In software. I have done a software equivalent in Popstar Pilot, but yeah, obviously this circuit will save you CPU cycles, so yeah, it would help, but certainly on a CoCo 1 and 2.
Yeah. Now we have a question from Dave and Sharon in chat, asking this mode would go into each game card. You could do it that way, or you could make it a little satellite board like Jim Brain has been proposing with some of his stuff, where you can plug it into the cartridge board, then plug the cartridge into that, or you could have it in a multi-pack or whatever too.
Yeah, like an inline.
There's a couple different ways to do it.
Coupler.
But since it's a fairly low hardware overhead, you might make it a separate card that's $5 or something like that.
And
something that sits under the 6809.
Well,
Plug
the,
into the-
the one thing is that you have to actually get the H-Sync and V-Sync signals into it. I believe, from what Chet has said, you have to have a Y cable that goes from the RGB connector into this cartridge.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So that would not work from a Coco 1.2 using the composite or RF signal?
I don't think so.
Well, it hasn't got an RGB port, obviously, but you might be able to tap it from a PIA, maybe.
Or the VDG, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the PIA does have an H-Sync interrupt. I mean, there's obviously a line for it, so.
We're getting into acronym territory here. VDG,
Just
PIA.
channeling our inner David Lads.
Drive-wire.
Sounds like maybe an internal card would be a better one so it could tap into the various hardware points it needs to.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was hoping that Chet would come on to kind of give a better explanation of what his goal is, et cetera, for
this is the
how it's implemented.
This is the incubus of it. I'm sure it will start to germinate and flower at some point in time. So hopefully we'll learn more as this idea grows,
So poetic.
Yes, yes.
And speaking of Australia,
Crikey.
There's a bit of a drive to try to get a Coco Fest or maybe a Tandy assembly style fest for all of the TRS-80s and Tandies in Australia.
CoCo's Fest.
Yeah, I think Ian Maverick had an alternate version name for if it was a General Tandy, TRS-80, and Coco.
Yeah, who cares about those other crappy systems?
Well, no, Nick was, I think, he stated that, maybe throw in Tandy to get more people together.
No, that's we don't
Which
want
is
that.
a good idea.
That's
Now,
kind of like
one thing I
the
want-
Oz Tandy assembly. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
One thing I do want to mention, like Nick and I took a brief look after this was posted to try to figure out, like, is there certain areas of Australia where everybody seems to be? There's a few way on the west coast. What was it? Perth or something?
Perth, yeah. But not many, yeah.
And most of the rest is in the southeastern chunk, basically.
Yeah.
Now, we did notice that some people that Nick knows that are around and are still active in the Coco community are not on there. So this is like a public call to people to get your name and rough address. You don't have to give your specific address, but just maybe the city you're in onto the Google map that we've got set up for doing this kind of thing to try to figure out where everybody is.
Which reminds me, so the Google Map thing. So Hugo DeFort is the one who created that, and then I think he gave me read-write permissions to it as well. And I've got a backlog of requests to update that, and I've got to find them all at this point. There's been a half a dozen Facebook comments, a couple of Facebook messages, and even a few Discord DMs. And the problem is I'm never able to respond in near real time, and now they've just all accumulated, and now it's going to become like a half-day project for me to find all those requests to try to fulfill. And that's the problem with communication. There's just way too many ways to do it, which just further makes it harder for me to, I'm a screw up to begin with. So, so on that note, if anybody has requested that again, maybe just tag it and bump it again so it becomes a new message for me to see.
I don't even know where I put it in, because there was a Facebook post and everybody was supposed to put it in, but I don't know where that Facebook post.
That problem is until somebody comments on it again, and it needs to be bumped, so Facebook only shows things with recent activity. So I need somebody to bump that post, and that'll help me get the lion's share of those requests. So
I just kept pestering you, Stevie. That's all.
And I don't think I actually did it though.
No, I think you got mine. I think it was in a short 6 to 9 months, but you did do it.
Okay, listen. If a guy says he's going to do something, he will. Damn it! You don't have to bother me every 6 weeks, right? So.
And basically, if you can't find the Facebook, just send an email directly to CoCoTALK and
to CoCoTALK at CoCoTalk.live. Yes.
And maybe just put Google Map or Coco Map or something in the subject line, so Stevie knows when to ignore it for 6 weeks.
Yeah, we need to open that up where more people have the ability to update that.
Because right now at this point, I don't even know how many active Coco owners are in Australia. I mean, when Nick and I looked, there's probably a couple dozen, I guess, listed. But he was rattling off multiple names that are not on there that he knows are still active. So, and it'd be good to get that group together. Like if they actually do organize an Oz Fest, to figure out what would be a nice central location that's the easiest for people to get to.
Right, and then potentially close to an airport too for maybe people who want to fly in. So, but Nick, you were a couple years ago. You went to the Oz K Fest, which is like the Kansas Fest. And what was the turnout for that? What was that, like 100 people maybe, or 50 people, or?
At the fest itself, wasn't 100, but it was about 30.
Okay. And Apple's a big system, you know.
It is, yeah, but not everyone can drive to the fest, I guess.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they had it coordinated, so it actually happened at the same time as the American Apple Fest as well. So we were able to link up at the same time with the American one, and we were able to communicate during the show.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I'm kind of torn on that because that's a good idea. We can get the two communities cross-linked and talking to each other live type thing. But on the other hand, if I want an excuse to go to Australia Fest, I don't want to miss Coco Fest Chicago to do it.
We need CoCo's Fest to be, you know, somewhere in the middle of the year where we got time to plan and
preferably
save
around
for
Christmas
that.
time when we go down where it's nice and warm, like maybe, you know, December or something.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'd love to go to Australia.
And
just quit lighting the place on fire so we can make it down there. That's my only request.
Yeah, maybe we can all catch a ride in Santa's sleigh, you know, save on travel arrangements. So
anyway, it's a really good idea because you guys haven't had a fest for the Coco in quite a few years, right, Nick? Because you guys did have some back in the day.
Oh, back in the day, but we haven't had anything since, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know if Bob DeVries, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, if he or DeVries, if he had organized any when he was the head of the OS9 users group, because it was pretty big in Australia for a while there, even in the 90s, and I don't know if they had
I don't know if he had a fest as such. He had meetings, I remember, every second Friday or whatever, which I used to go to. That's why I know so much about OS9,
but garbage can icon design.
Yeah.
You mean know so much about you don't want to use it?
One of the local Australian Coco magazines actually coordinated the yearly fest, and I never went to them, but they were close to me as well. So,
wow,
total slacker.
Anyway, I think it's a great idea. I mean, coordinating when and where type thing. I think we need to get the map kind of filled out.
What is a ballpark round trip airfare? Are we talking $1,000 plane ticket, $500? I mean, I know you're not a travel agency, but if you had to guess, or Nick, if you know what it might cost.
Well, I remember way back in 2000 when I came over to the US, it cost about $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was about $2,200 from Canada, but I know you guys get better rates from the States than we do.
Right, and I know Ian Maverick, he comes from Australia to Tandy Assembly. He's done it 2 years in a row now, so maybe we can ask him what it costs. But I would
the
imagine
prices are not too bad right now, or he's rich, one of the two.
Yeah. So. $600 to $1,500 is what Rob Inman says is between like $600 and $1,500.
Yeah.
So
yes, for economy,
Okay.
And that's round trip.
Round trip.
That's not bad. That might be worth it for me to drive to the States and catch a flight from Minneapolis.
Flying to that part of the world has gotten a lot cheaper than it used to be.
Yeah. There's a lot of terrorist activity in Australia, though, isn't there? Isn't it like a war zone over there?
No. We don't have the terrorists. We have the fires.
Yeah.
The fire demons.
They burn all their terrorists out is what they do.
Yeah. So now that's a great idea. Honestly, I would love to. That's on my bucket list, is to go to Australia. You know,
that's on mine too, because actually my uncle lives there. Like he moved there in the '60s from Canada.
I have a feeling if I win, I might not want to return. You know, but
well, once you meet Nick, that will pass. But.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, we joke about everybody being Nick's neighbor, but how cool would it be to actually be Nick's neighbor, right? So
let's ask Nick. What would you think if we all moved in next door?
Oh, don't ask me. Ask the neighbors. I'm leaving this town.
That's when Nick moves out to the outback somewhere and doesn't. You'll be moving to Broken Arrow with Bryson.
Wow. Yeah, Broken Hill.
Oh, Broken Hill, sorry.
Yeah. Where they film
which is
Mad
like
Max.
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
It reminds me of Death Valley, California.
Very cool.
Except hotter. No, I'm just kidding.
Very cool. Well, that's a great idea, and let's see what we can do to make it happen.
Oh, I posted a link to the Facebook message about the map, Coco map.
Okay.
So it's, and I also bumped it too.
Okay, that'll bump it. And
cool.
then,
yeah.
And then I need to get on that. Maybe right after the show we'll do that.
I mean, not even just for Australian people, but just for everybody, just to know where everybody
Yeah,
is
we
in
just want to
case
know where
somebody
everybody
wants
is.
to
So
meet
yeah, I've
friends.
gotten some people saying, "Can you please update it, or can you please add me, or whatever?" So yeah, we'll work on that.
I think the latest I heard is that there's a lot of talk about having it in Brisbane, which is where my town is.
Okay.
Which probably makes sense because the air quality here is currently better than all the others.
Wow.
Yeah, I think when we were figuring out the most centrally located might have been, what was it, Adelaide or I can't remember now.
Well,
What's that one down the coast from you?
Probably it sort of sits in between Adelaide and my place. But yeah,
Was it Sydney maybe I'm thinking of then?
Yeah, Sydney's more central, but and maybe Melbourne as well. But the thing is, yeah, currently the air quality in both those places is a bit
dodgy
because of fires. Yeah,
And neither of those places have Nick Marentes.
Right.
Well, we do have the Gold Coast nearby, so you can always go for a swim.
There you go. Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's see let's see how that progresses. But I mean, other than not having $1,500 spare dollars to fly there, I would love to go. So we'll work on that.
I like I said, I do like the idea of having the cross link. Simultaneous. But on the other hand,
to make it a bigger draw,
you guys will have to have 2 shows a year or something 1 year so that we can make it down too.
Yeah. I'm going to take on an extra paper route to start saving up, or maybe start doing returning some bottles or something to start saving up for that $1,500.
If you start selling cosmic aliens,
yeah, but
just bump the price.
You'll be warranty returns. So
you'll be $2 closer.
And I don't know, $1,498. So yeah,
you better start writing sequels, buddy.
Yes. All right.
But
what's
we
next?
do also have a few people who are TRS-80 people as well, so that's why I thought combining.
Yeah,
the two
absolutely.
That's a good idea.
Ian Maverick and yourself, you're kind of a crossover. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway,
you can set up a full display with every version of Donut Dilemma ever made.
Yeah,
that would take up half the
including
room.
the Maximite.
I remember at the first Tandy Assembly, one of the visitors there was from New Zealand. So
yeah, that's right.
It's not unusual for someone to come from that far away.
Right.
And like I said, I'd love to go to Australia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
There was a guy at CoCoFest last year I talked to who was
Craig Stewart.
Craig Stewart.
Yeah.
He is from my town. And he's nearby. Yeah.
And he just happened to be in the neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh.
And he's currently not on the map as an example.
Yeah.
He said crikey too.
Crikey. Everybody from Australia says that.
Yeah.
It's required.
It's a greeting.
Yeah. it's like aloha in Hawaii. It's
like
crikey.
good day.
All right, what's next?
Next up, this was a rather interesting discussion on Facebook here in the CoCo group. Greg Ferguson, who just kind of joined, lately, was talking about what was the best CoCo 2
color script
processor.
Ding, 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 ding.
Next story.
For the win. Color scripts it. It's like Lancer color scripts it. Next.
You mean buzzard
yeah.
Anyway, it was a pretty interesting one. And I mean, I remember back when I was doing my school papers and stuff, like Telewriter 64 was it for me. I had seen VIP Writer, but its keyboard response time was slow. It would buffer the keys so you wouldn't lose anything you type, but its printing speed on the screen was terrible. And there were some later ones that kind of got GUI mouse based. A little bit later too. I can't remember the name of the one off the top of my head, but I was just wondering on the panel here, what were your favorites back in the day if you did do word processing on the CoCo 1 and 2?
VIP desktop.
Yeah, that's what I used to.
VIP Writer. Yeah.
Yep.
Me too, and Telewriter also.
Unfortunately, I was stuck with Color Script Set.
Yeah, same here. I used Color Script Set for all my reports, and then later on I got TS Edit, which of course I love anything that's like VI.
Thankfully, I never had to write anything back in those days.
Yeah, that was not a non-issue for me, and I didn't have a printer either because I didn't care about
that too.
That kind of stuff.
But when you tried Scriptsit, it led you to other ones.
Yeah, right.
Scriptsit is gateway drug to be a word processor.
Exactly. Gateway.
Exactly. Gateway to a real word processor.
Scriptsit for a long
That's
time.
the word.
I did more on the CoCo 3. So.
I skipped Scriptsit entirely. I tried it in the Radio Shack store just after it was released and said this sucked, and I'd already seen the original Telewriter.
Yeah.
So then when Telewriter 64 came out, that was mine. And then on the CoCo 3, I was using either WordPower 3 or Window Writer later on in 09.
I remember tinkering with Telewriter 64 and thinking it was the best that I had seen. But I really didn't do any word processing. I don't do word processing today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I wrote a lot of papers and stuff for school on the Coco 3 on simply better.
Oh, I forgot. That was one of the ones I was going to mention because that was a kind of a GUI based one, wasn't it?
All right.
No.
Or was that a straight text
No, it
one?
was
I can't
a
remember.
text one, yeah.
It was an 80-column text screen.
I remember Rainbow had a big cross, shootout match between them, and I think on the Coco 1 and 2 there was like 9 or 10 word processors, and there was another 5 or 6 on the Coco 3, so there was a lot of them. They had a pretty good choice.
Don't forget Dynastar.
Dynastar.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Rob Inman says, I would like to play around with TS Edit. Nimble in the live chat saying I use extended basic for word processing. And the Nimble says printer print statements to a TP10 printer. So he was just typing stuff in basic and making it print to the printer.
Yeah, print number
-2 colon.
Yeah, yeah. Al Hartman says Telewriter 64 and VIP Writer were his go-tos. Sixie, who's Karen, the author of X-Roar, says Telewriter. Really? I had a cassette version of Electronic Author, but not sure if I used it much. Rob Inman says Telewriter 64 was a powerhouse. It could do everything on that thing for school. Alexander Wallace, our friend from Mexico, hola Alexander, says I used Max 10 and Telewriter 128. Wow.
Yeah, Max 10 was actually that was WYSIWYG. That was actually into full-blown desktop publishing pretty well at that point. That was above and beyond. In fact, they sold it as a bundle with Coco Max 3, I think for like $49 or something like that. At one point, you get both of them. So it's page layout software with variable size fonts, plus you can edit the graphics, you can merge it in at the same time. So it was a nice package.
Even WordPerfect wasn't WYSIWYG for a while.
Robert Murphy, hold on, David and Sharon says
Can't
I had
beat
that
Home Publisher.
Home Publisher? I'm not familiar with that one.
Lucky you.
Oh, yeah.
What about the shoestring publisher from Rainbow?
Yeah, actually, there was a couple. Eric White, I think, did that, and then he did a commercial version that was a bit more advanced. Newspaper 09, I think he called it.
Newspaper 09, that's a cool name. Dave and Sharon say I had that poor 32-character thermal printer. You had to keep your pages away from the sun and the heat.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, try.
Don't leave them on the dash of your car. I found that in a hurry.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty interesting discussion on that, and people with their various favorites. I definitely see VIP Writer and Telewriter 64 were the most, on the Coco 1 to the most common. Some other ones were mentioned, like TS Edit and TS Word. And
there was a Telewriter 80 too.
Yeah,
that was a patch Bob Vanderpool did. Yeah.
I don't have any word processing stories because I never word processed back then. But my only story that somewhat related to that is just to deal with typing. I think like a lot of us, I was a teenager when I had my Coco. I taught myself how to type with 2 fingers, so I could very quickly do the 2-finger typing. And when I went to college, and we had a typing class where you had to use a real typewriter and learn the home keys, I actually failed that and had to take it twice because I was so used to my 2-finger typing. I could not comprehend using more than 2 fingers at the same time, and I had to double down on that. So
I took typing class in high school because it was a good place to meet girls. Apparently,
I tried that too, but unfortunately, they still didn't want to talk to me. So it didn't
work.
I used DeskMate 1 for
I used
invoices.
I used DeskMate on the Tandy 1000, but not on the Coco.
Yeah, I did.
And like Steve, I did, like when I self-taught myself to type originally, and that was originally on a manual typewriter than the Coco 1, I did 4 fingers. I did, the index and the middle fingers.
Yeah, no.
And then when I went to typing class, I had to unlearn all that and then learn how to do that.
That was a 2-finger demon. It's like, and everybody's like, man, you type so fast. I'm like, well, but the 2-finger shuffle. So,
yeah. My favorite typing story, I guess, would have to be Dwayne's brother. Which one was it now? Was it Alan or Mel? Dwayne, you've met before.
Yep.
But he didn't know how to type at all. So he did the hunt and peck method where he would take his hand
and just
go, I got to type the word the, and he'd have to scan all the keys
Right.
going down each row until he found it. And if you hit something on the top row, he'd go, yeah, because it was nice and lucky and he did it quick, but it was on the bottom row. It took him like 10 seconds to find the keys. So
it's like the old days of texting on the phone when you had the just the number keys and you had to press the
K9
thing
stuff.
like 5 times to get the.
Yeah, you'd luck out. Oh, it's only one hit this time.
Yeah, right.
Like
But it was fun
dialing.
watching him type. Yeah.
It's like speed dialing on a dial-up phone. Round one.
Yeah, the rotary phone.
You have to hope there's not too many 9s if you have to phone in the radio station and win that prize with a fast dial.
You got to push it backwards really hard.
I actually could do it almost as fast just by tapping the hang-up receiver, timing the 9 things almost faster.
Actually, by the time smartphones came around, the feature phones, you didn't have to like tap 2 or 3 times to get a letter. You could just type the word and it would figure out what word you were typing, or sometimes there would be 2 words that would generate from the same,
Yeah. My
same
phones weren't
number
that
of
smart.
keys.
Yeah.
That was a little bit later on, though. The
Yeah.
original K9 phones did not do that.
Right. Yeah. No, it was like I said towards the end, and then smartphones came around with full-blown keyboards.
Yeah. Now they autocorrect everything, so everything's spelled wrong. So it's
right. There you go.
It's advanced.
BlackBerry's the future.
Oh yeah.
Built-in keyboard.
No, the Palm Pilot is. Palm Pilot is. So yeah.
Apparently, the autocorrect on my phone thinks I talk about ducks a lot.
I liked graffiti on the Palm Pilot. It was fast.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. The latest product from Retro Innovations, or
yes,
or
Jim
not.
Brain, alias Retro Innovations, alias Troll, has made some boards available for a different 512K upgrade project, and it uses the more period correct chips, but instead of using the 41256 that the official upgrade from Tandy and the Performance Peripherals and all the other guys did back in the day, he actually made one that uses the 44256 chips. So it only takes 4 chips to give you the 512K. And his ad copy for this was just awesome, saying you too can sport a period correct power hungry Coco 3 round.
Power hungry.
As all the heat and all the power draw, unlike all the current static RAM ones. So
right.
Do they have the toaster edition where you can put it on?
There's just a hot plate. You just put a hot plate on top of that, and you can grill whatever you need. So
yeah, it's coffee, built-in coffee warmer, so you're kind of getting a bonus out of it. So I just thought it was funny that he actually the way he advertised it, he's like he's kind of like shooting it down in his own ad
these
copy.
days.
So is he really selling it legitimately?
Yeah.
Well, apparently, yeah. I guess this was a prototype maybe he did a while ago and never sold, but now he's got some available. So anybody who wants to pop in some old RAM and make an upgrade.
Yeah, it was originally done as a project, and he said, anyway, though I designed this in 2018, I have some spare PCBs, and folks might be interested. So yeah,
okay,
cool.
Grilled cheese not included.
Yeah,
you can get it with an actual CoCoTALK mug and eat your coffee on.
Skin cancer included at no additional charge.
Does he say how much they're selling for?
Let's see. $3 for the
$3. That's a ripoff.
What?
That's a ripoff. That's
for the
unfair.
PCB.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, he just chimed in live. Retro Innovation says $3. Yeah. No, that's unfair. I don't like that.
That's not including chips, though, right?
That hurts my feelings.
No, that'd be just the board.
Ask him if we could pay more.
Can we pay more?
$3 is even.
But they're the same chips that come out of a Coco 2 or the 2-chip upgrade from.
No, those are 4464s. You need 44256s.
Oh, you need the other ones, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I would assume you can probably still get.
Neat.
Next up after that, Lee Patterson, the guy who did Bouncy Ball a couple years back, and we've met at the fest back then, is working on a Coco 3 hardware text mode version of the game Bulls and Cows, which I'd never heard of. And he's calling the Coco version Moo. And it's basically what the board game Mastermind is based off of, where you have those random colored pegs and you have to try to guess, and you get back response saying you've got the right color or you've got the right color and the right spot.
That sounds like the Gatecrasher.
I was just going to mention that.
It's Mastermind.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's got some screenshots and a blog here that kind of explains the history of the game and where Mastermind came from, the original versions of it.
Yeah.
It's got a little demo of it actually running, explanation of the board game itself and how the mode works and how you have to map the gimme, how the colors work. So it's kind of a blog of him learning how the Coco 3 hardware works.
Okay.
How you map your screens and everything else. So it's actually pretty good if you're a beginning machine language programmer or beginning on the Coco 3 machine language programming. It actually has a pretty good bit of detail in there. So follow his blog and
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad that Lee's back and active. Lee was one of the first guys that I met when I got into the community, with Bouncy Ball being the first new Coco game I became aware of. I knew of Farfall, but Farfall was made a few years earlier. So Bouncy Ball was one of the first new Coco games being released around 2015, 2016 time, when I kind of got into the community and got to my first Coco Fest, and I got to meet Lee So it's kind of cool. And we haven't seen or heard from him too much, but he's seemingly active and back, and we're glad that Lee's here and working on stuff.
Yeah, and actually, Bouncy Ball, he actually ended up porting to the iOS and Apple TV OS platforms. So you can actually get them on those as well. So
very cool.
Cool.
Next up, this is just kind of a general information. The reservations for the hotel and the reservation for tables and stuff for Coco Fest are now open. I just brought up their webpage here, but I think
can you bring up Tandy List? Bring up tandylist.com because that shows the floor plan. That's a great resource too. So I'm in TANDYLIST period COM. There you go. All right. So here you can see the map, and if you click on that map, it'll zoom in too. But you can see what tables are available, and you can book your table. So this is the exhibit room, and it's pretty big, and there's a lot of tables. There are 62 tables. That's big, right? 62 exhibit tables.
Do we know how many we had last year? Just for comparison.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't 62. I couldn't even guess, to be honest with you, though. But now, just you see where it says 18 through 21 up there? Those 4 tables I have reserved in the name of CoCoTALK. I don't need 4 tables. I'm going to need 1, maybe 2. So I've got a couple of spare tables. So if somebody like Mikey shows up, Michael Furman or anybody else, if you need a place to sit down and show off a project or just park your butt, we're going to have
Mikey's
a couple of extra tables. Oh, Mikey's got a table? All right. So John Lowry or anybody else, anybody who ends up coming to, I figured there might be some people who didn't remember to get a table or weren't thinking they were going to need a table, but I just figured let me just complete that row because it seems like a lot of us that know each other are all in that same row. So I just kind of blocked off the rest. D. Bruce Moore is right across from that on table 22. Right across from us is going to be Retro Innovations in table 8 and 9, and table 6 and 7 is Boyson Technology. So you can kind of see who's in there. So I'm going to have some extra tables that will, if somebody shows up late or just didn't reserve a table, we've got a few and so like Chet Simpson, if he can't make it, we can show off some Digger stuff if he wants to ship it there. If Nick Marentes wants to send some Gunstar stuff, we can set up a little display for Gunstar for you. I just figured we'd have some space if we need it.
Cool.
For what it's worth. But I thought this was great. It's an interactive floor plan where you can book your tables and see what's available and see who you want to see. It's kind of like being able to pick your seat in the lunchroom, right? So pretty cool. Good job, Randy Weaver, for doing that, and for the folks at Glenside. So. Yeah, table 17 is the Tandy Shack. That's Terry Steggy. Table 15 and 16, that's Nitrous 9 Ease of Use. So that'll be you, Curtis, and David Ladd. All right, table 14 is Pi Drivewire. That's Mikey. 12 and 13, that's MDO. That's Mark D. Overholzer Consulting. What are you going to be consulting exactly, Mark? What type of consultations will you provide?
I was thinking about being a carpet consultant,
Okay.
Actually, Mark, one thing you should bring down, I didn't put it in the news, but we probably should discuss it at some point during the show today, is you're getting the OS 9 6809 board running on your Apple II.
Oh, it's barely running. I got to mess with it some more. There's a lot of problems with the disk images. But anyway, yeah, okay.
It's probably just the operating system, but that's...
the host operating system above the OS 9.
Exactly.
Do you have the hammer?
DeBruce Moore says he's not even sure we had 40 tables at Heron Point. So the fact that we've got like 62 tables is insane. It's huge. This area is much bigger, right? And there's a separate room for speaking, I take it too. So if presenters will be in a different room than the exhibitors.
It's also much closer to the airport too if you're flying into O'Hare.
Yeah. So yeah, this is probably going to be one of the best organized Coco Fests going on right now. So if you haven't been to the Glenside meetings, they're a hoot. It's nonstop action and adventure and entertainment. It's hours of entertainment on a monthly basis.
That's just waiting for the minutes to finish. But.
Yeah, right. So but Glenside's been doing a hell of a job organizing this year, and this is a big year. It's the 40th anniversary of the Coco. So.
Yeah, I mean, big kudos to Glenside because there's not too many retro communities that have actually been able to keep a fest going 29 years straight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dedicated to one platform.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if you'll notice, 24 and 25.
Would that be the Reicherts?
Right, that'll be the Coco Man / Can Make It
brothers.
All right, the Reichert brothers. All right, they're kind of like the Wright brothers. First in flight, we have the Reichert brothers. So
both ain't right.
Now I'm going to call some shenanigans here. Notice that table 1 and 2 are reserved by Eric Canales. You know, he's the president of the club. He had first dibs on all this, and he grabbed the first 2 tables. Is there any insider trading going on here?
Scandalous.
Scandalous.
Not
nice.
according to him.
Tablegate.
Tablegate. Yes. So,
yeah, I mean, honestly, when I figured out that David Ladd's gonna be right beside them, I kind of, we'll cut them some slack. If you hear his over exuberance the entire show right next door,
yeah, that's
frankly,
that's
I'm
his
fine
penance.
being further away. So.
Yeah, his penance is having to deal with Dave. Oh, so Dave's Hobbies has his own table. So who's going to be manning ease of use? So it'd be you and Grant?
Yeah.
Or maybe a revolving door of support?
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing that has been a little bit disappointing to me, and nothing against the people that were helping me on the booth here, is that because we were displaying so many things at once, we're doing like mouse adapters and we're showing off CoCo3 stuff. I mean, Mark, even when you guys did VCF, same thing. I want to have something dedicated to showing ease of use, and ideally, you'd want the 609, 609 versions running simultaneously. People can compare them, see, is the 609 upgrade worth it? Or, even comparing it with, the original version of 09 so people can see how much is advanced since the old days if you're just getting back into the Coco. So I wanted to have a couple machines dedicated that don't keep getting switched off to show Donkey Kong by Sockmaster or something. Nothing against that.
Right.
That should be shown too, but I wanted something dedicated.
And for
this way we can actually have everything going at once. I mean, we can show off.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I kind of want to do the same thing when we do a VCF West, because I wanted to show Nitrous 9 and Fusix, and mostly the computers were playing games. So
right. Well, I mean, to be fair, that's a bigger draw. It's going somebody from across the room is not going to run over. Oh, is that a multi-user operating system?
That's why you just need more tables. We're not saying like
restrict
the table to only doing something. We're saying have a dedicated games table, have a dedicated CoCo3 games table, have a dedicated Nitrous.
Right, and that's why I'm thinking I reserved 4 tables, but I'm going to need at most 2 because I want to have one that's going to be just a generic CoCoTALK booth, and then right next to that I'm going to be having Kabam, my Coco VGA project Kabam. I'm going to have that on display, so that'll be 2 tables maximum that I'll need, so I'll have 2 more spare.
Hey Stevie, I pulled up the spreadsheet from last year's Coco Fest. There are 27 tables in the main room and there are 4 more in the other room.
All right, so we basically doubled that. We've doubled the exhibitor space.
Pretty much.
And basically with the ones that are green are available, but it's pretty well booked up. No thanks to a hog like me taking 4 tables. But
well, you can mark up and you can sell the extra ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing like a ticket scalping. Get your
There's
table
how
here.
you're gonna raise your money.
Get your table here, right? So.
Samuel Gimes says table 50.
Is he really?
Stevie used to pay for his ticket.
Samuel Gimes.
Samuel Gimes. Yeah, Samuel Gimes needs a booth. I would like to get Samuel Gimes' autograph. So cool.
And he's okay with me.
This is going to be a huge Coco Fest. And we mentioned, you mentioned the number 120. We've been averaging 120 people the past 2 years. That doesn't sound like a huge number, but when you look at it in significance, that people have to travel across the country, across the world to be there, the fact that you can get 120 people together is nothing short of amazing, in my humble opinion. So
and the fact that if you go back 10 years before that, I mean, you're doubling the attendance, so attendance is going back up, which is a good sign.
I was hoping,
but they're also booking like there's the Saturday night. There's the big supper thing. They're taking the bookings for that. They got the the special rate for the hotel set up, so everything's pretty well ready to go.
Absolutely.
We should get Christopher out there. You can give him one of your tables.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can have a little set up a little VCR or something with.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool? Watching the original analog version of the production.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, about some of the programming samples, he's right there to answer them.
Yeah, we could we could go from Temple of Rom to the Cave of Xlax. I mean, it's just perfect.
Find out source code.
Paul, we definitely an invite to you, Christopher, if you want to come out to it. We'd love to have you there.
If he's still here, he might.
Yes,
I wish I could afford it.
Well, I mean, Glenside is doing some sponsorships for some people to come down. Maybe we can arrange to cover some of the costs for you.
Man.
Something to
special
think
40th
about.
anniversary. We want to try to
Yeah.
get some people out that haven't been out before or haven't been out in years.
Definitely worth thinking about.
Yeah. We'll put you in touch with the Glenside website. Now, this is cool.
Got-
I'm looking
got
forward
3
to
months.
it. I have booked my flight. I tried calling a few times at night because I don't get home till late at night. I tried calling to get the Coco Fest rate. I got in touch with a couple of Arab terrorists, their call center, who are the late shift for the hotel, and I could not get anybody to even know what a Coco was, let alone give me the rate. So I got to call during normal business hours to get that Glenside discounted rate for the hotel. So
You've heard a few people have had some issues getting through, and
yeah,
for a while, they're like when they initially announced that everything was ready to go. Some people called like within a day or two, and the people there had no idea about this Coco Fest rate. So,
yeah. And to all Arab terrorists out there, if I offended you, good. I'm not sorry.
I mean, this is a new hotel to be doing this. I mean, the old Heron Point would have been hosting Coco Fest for years, so they're obviously kind of remember the fact that we come out every year and swarm the place and break their elevator. But
yeah,
hopefully they'll get a bit smoothed out here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the show. Definitely.
Allegedly connected.
Yes,
Very cool. They sure do remember.
Yeah, especially after last year, boy, they'll remember.
Oh wow. Well,
Okay.
we should take some pictures and show them that, hey, we just doubled the size of the event. Look what business you guys didn't get. Nah.
They didn't have the space. I mean, they were maxed out.
Well, they could have broken things out, but yeah, it would have been disjointed, kind of fragmented. So having a single bigger room that's had double the tables is definitely better.
Yeah. And then my last of the regular news stories here. And this I just found today. It was released a few days ago, but 8-bit shootout. So they did a basic program, and the three old tech dudes, we've actually covered them once before because they covered the Coco 2 briefly, just kind of mentioning what it was. And what they did is they took an Atari 800 XL, a Commodore 64, and a Coco 2, and wrote a quick basic program that basically randomizes some numbers and then sorts them, using the standard basic built in.
Okay.
And then they kind of go through the machines a little bit, and they ran the test twice just to
run
make sure.
Run a stopwatch or something to see how long it took to do it, or.
Yeah, basically.
What kind of sort they used?
Was it a
bubble sort?
Binary sort? A bubble? Yeah. Here we go.
I think it was bubble sort.
Yeah. Here we go. Here they are. This looks like.
Which one's the Coco?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
there goes.
Atari's in the middle, and the Commodore's on the far right. If I
Can't even see the Coco.
I love the music.
Commodore should be the last one.
Yeah, the Commodore.
Well, it runs at only. Oh yeah, it runs at 1 megahertz.
And this Coco 1 with just regular speed too. They didn't use the double speed Coco.
Yeah, so that's right.
So is the 25 seconds what we're looking at here?
Yeah.
28 seconds.
The Coco's still just a green screen.
Yeah, we can't see what the hell the Coco's doing.
I can see it faintly here, but yeah, on the stream.
Yeah. Coco's
TS-80 first. Commodore 64 second.
Score.
And the Asari is still running.
Yeah.
TRS-80 did.
There you go.
The Asari came in third. All right.
And they reran the test afterwards to reseed the random number because, I mean, if you got different random numbers, I mean, it might sort faster using a bubble sort.
Okay.
And it the exact same results.
Okay. Coco first, Commodore second, Atari third. And that's the way it is when it comes to how awesome these machines are. So Coco's number one. And I'm not at all
Yay,
biased.
Coco!
Yeah. I remember Color Computer News back in '82. They had a comparison because Byte had done a publishing chart of comparing some of the 8-bit micros and even some of the more advanced, like the gimmicks and stuff, of all the Z80s and 6502s, 8080s, 8088s, 6809s, and the Coco always did place fairly well. But the Basic 09 Coco actually was basically competitive with some of the 16-bit machines at the time. So,
do anybody remember Al's benchmark that was posted in what was it?
Yeah, we discussed that in the news here a month or two ago, didn't we? I
think we maybe did. Yeah, it's got a whole list of different machines, and there's like 100 some machines on there.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember where the Coco falls. The Apple and Commodore are like 2 minutes and 53 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, I think we were a little bit higher than that if I remember, but Not like a huge jump like some of the later machines or the faster ones. But anyway, I found that was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see things like this.
So I did send them some comments. We'll see what they say back afterwards. And that's the end of the regular news for today. Unless Mark wants to talk about his 6809 OS9 board and his Apple II experience.
Yes, we can do that. Am I back in?
I can show it off, or I can leave it till acquisitions. But
well, I'm trying to figure out how to get back to. Okay, now we're back in the gallery view. All right, how about we do this? How about we take a commercial break, and then we'll be back with more CoCoTALK. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Yes.
Sure.
All right. So, Ron Delvaux, you have permission to go potty if you need it. All right. We're commercial break number 2, and we'll be back. Let me go ahead and share my sound again so you guys can hear the commercial so you know when it's over. We'll be back after these words, folks.
We will return after these messages.
Hi, I'm Terry Steen, author of Balloon Fire and other amazing games on the color computer. And you're listening to Stevie Stroh on CoCoTALK.
At GSoft, we make games for the TRS-80 color computer, TRS-80 MC10, and Dragon computers. Our basic games cover the range of genres from arcade, to text adventures, to simulations, to 3D dungeon crawls. This is our latest puzzle game from Japan, Fruit Panic. So come on and drop by our website and download our latest games.
My fellow Americans, Australians, Canadians, Europeans, and all of you ands, I'm calling on all y'all to help us make the world great again by visiting the Retro Swag Shop at 8bit256.com, where you can get yourself a coffee mug like this with a little cute cartoon character that says, I'm a cocoa nut. You could also get yourself a coffee mug like this with a Color Computer 3 that says, I'm a cocoa nut. You could get yourself a deluxe travel mug like this with the CoCoTALK logo on it. You might even be able to get yourself a DVD like this with over 2 hours of gameplay goodness. It is time for us to rise up and make the world great again by enjoying some quality retro merchandise and Coco nostalgia. So please visit 8bit256.com and let's make the world great for the color computer. Thank you very much.
Coco 2's got personality, lots of practicality, fun, it's sensational, learn it's educational. Coco 2's expandable, so easily commendable. It's programmable, so term exam grammable. Just you and Coco 2 do what you want to do.
Coco 2, the color computer with personality from Radio Shack. Sale price for Christmas giving from $149.95.
Radio Shack's Coco 2, do what you want to do. Just you and Coco 2.
CoCoTALK is brought to you in part by Placeblex Dietary Supplement. Placeblex, we think it works, so will you.
Tired of switching your joystick between the left and right port? Want to change between different controllers? Well, Joey has got you covered. The Joey Controller Switch. Take control of your controllers with the flip of 2 switches. Order today at cocoman.biz. And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. Legend says, when the moon is full, if you go out in the country by the lake and whisper the name of Nick Marotta 3 times, his spirit will appear and he will grant you a product idea.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tim. Playing Dagger like that idiot from the book. You're watching CoCoTALK.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
And we're back. And speaking of Nick Marotta, Soundboard is working today, and if you remember from days gone past, Soundboard was always more miss than hit. And right now the soundboard's giving us the hits. So I just want to say to the soundboard, I'd like to say
thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
All right. So that was the legendary Rick Adams, legendary game designer. Rick
Now,
Adams.
did you add to the soundboard the sound of you plugging and unplugging the USB when it doesn't work?
No, Windows does that for me automatically.
Okay.
But now you guys know when I say Nightmare Highway, what are you guys supposed? Let's try this on the count of 3. I'm going to say Nightmare Highway, and then you guys know what you're supposed to say afterwards, right? So 1, 2, 3. Nightmare Highway.
Nightmare Highway.
All right. So in case you guys drop the ball on me now, thanks to Ken Reichert, when I say Nightmare Highway.
Nightmare Highway.
I've got a built-in echo now. So just in case you guys let me down, which has never happened in the history of this show. So, so the soundboard is back, and this is a professional show, and we do have a couple of new updates to the soundboard like this.
I'm sure that we can handle this situation maturely, just like the responsible adults that we are. Isn't that right, Mr. Poopy Pants?
There we go. So we got all kinds of drops that we can drop at any given time. So
professional show. Is this the same show we're on right now? Or
yes.
I'm sorry, I must be in the wrong show then. I apologize. I must have wandered in here by mistake.
Yes. Well, we haven't scared away our special guest, Christopher Mayeux. You're still with us, Christopher. Thanks for being here, Fuzzy. And
not a problem.
Have you enjoyed your experience so far?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Would you recommend CoCoTALK to a friend?
Oh, most surely.
4 out of 5 people who watched the show would not say that. So thank you.
4 out of 5
That's
people
including all of us here on the panel. But
yes.
4 out of 5 people say, "What's CoCoTALK?"
Exactly.
People get checks in the mail.
You know what's funny? So when we first started doing this show, I would check Google and check YouTube. Is the name available? Will we ever come up in a search? When we first started doing the show, and you typed in CoCoTALK, you got Ice-T and Coco. You guys know who the rapper is, Ice-T?
Of course.
Of course we all do. We're all hip with the hip hop vernacular, right, yo? So when you first typed in CoCoTALK, all you saw was Ice-T and Coco, and it's his wife, who I guess is apparently is a former adult entertainer, and so she's well known for being, let's just say, a voluptuous woman. So that was the first thing you would see when you typed in CoCoTALK 2 years ago. Now when you type in CoCoTALK, it's us. It's the podcast. It's the YouTubes. It's the Facebooks. And so we have ranked in the searching just by, I guess it's the old philosophy, garbage in, garbage out. So the more crap we keep throwing out there, the higher we are now ranking. So
you mean we're not here to talk about the Disney film?
and that for about a week or so, that was big when you typed in Coco, was that whole Disney thing, right? So all right, so what is Jim Brain saying here? Missing content, missing personality, missing plot.
Back up to Ken's comment. Back up to Ken's comment.
Where's Ken's comment here?
Which they'd like to keep my friends.
Oh, sorry, Rob's comment. I missed the broken soundboard.
Oh, I missed the broken soundboard is what Rob Inman said. And then Mark says, we miss a lot of things here, including talent. And then he says, missing content, missing personality, missing plot, you name it, right? Missing clarity. Infinite Guy is here saying, what's up? So hello to you, Infinite Guy. And just because the soundboard works, there's no reason to overuse the soundboard at this point, right?
It's worth doing. It's worth overdoing.
Yes. All right. So we are now going to move on to we have a couple of things. Number one, we do have project updates and acquisitions, and I know Mikey's got an update. You're not in a hurry, right, Mikey?
No.
Is anybody here pressed for time and needs to get out of here? You have something legitimate you need to do today? Because we also have the opportunity, since we have legendary game designer Rick Adams here with us on the show, and James. Oh, speaking of, somebody said, "Bless your heart, Jim Brain."
Bless your heart.
There we go. We got a little bless your heart there.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart, Jim Brain. Bless your heart. I'll pray for you. So Rick is here, and Rick has been working on an update to the multi-million-dollar platinum hit Temple of Rom. We now are going to be working on Temple of Rom Due, and let's go ahead and switch over to that. And I've gotten a preview of that. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but unlike Gunstar, I got the scoop on this one. So
Do you have a cheat codes to get beyond level 1 is my question.
we did. So Rick, you wanna
Gotcha.
introduce what's going on here, and then we'll take a look at it.
Well, there's not much to say. I've taken the original game and expanded the. It was known for having a really big maze, and now I've expanded the maze by about 45%.
Okay.
And so there are 2 new monsters. There are obviously more rooms, more treasures, more portals, so it's the same thing as always. It's just a little bit bigger. Right now, what it has is pretty much the original map that's not messed with much at all. And then on the outskirts of the map, I've just added a bunch more rooms.
Ah.
And then it would be really nice to have like a really easy peasy level editor. And I don't have that. But it is possible for those with some degree of technical know-how to make their own custom levels for it.
Okay.
So much for you then, Stevie.
Yes.
So the key to doing a level is there is a Photoshop file.
Okay.
The Photoshop file that has basically a picture of the maze and all the rooms and where the monsters are and all that sort of stuff. And if you carve that up and start drawing your own walls of the rooms, then there is a script that you can run on a Raspberry Pi to generate data files. They're actually source data files. So you could make your own level. You could, draw your own thing, save it out as a GIF, process that with the script. It would generate about 5 data files. And then you would have to do your own build with LW ASM and build that. And then you'd have, your own version of Temple of Ram, basically.
Sounds about just as easy as doing an OS 9 boot descriptor. So
yeah, it's not that user friendly. It's true.
And 127 easy to follow steps.
Right.
Can you change the Rick Adams name?
No.
You notice this one says CoCoTALK. There's my current. That's not my highest score, but 41,700 is what's there. And so just real quick before we get started in the demo, I want to say a couple things. This is everything you're going to look at now is based on a lot of things that have happened from the community. Obviously, the game itself, Rick Adams is working on this. And a lot of people from the community have helped Rick Adams, like getting him set up with development tools and cross-development tools and stuff. So we have that part to thank. The fact I'm looking at this on my Coco 3 is thanks to the switcheroo from Jason, the Coco man who's with us. The fact that I got my joystick plugged in is because of the Joey joystick controller switch. And I'm also using let me just switch real quick to, this is like shameful plug part. But I'm also using my little tiny mini custom joystick from Sheldon McDonald that I've been playing with this too. So everything you're about to see right now is a huge testament to the community in action as we play the game. So I'm going to go ahead and press the button, and this is going to be a live preview. I'm sorry, Rick, go ahead.
I'm sorry, can you pause that for a sec?
Sure.
I just wanted to mention to Fuzzy that this game is largely inspired by the fantasy novels of Catherine Kurtz, in case that interested him. And that's all I wanted to say.
Well, wasn't it one of the community members, was it William, or did the disassembly of this because you didn't have the original source
William
anymore?
Astle,
yes. That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, you can go on, Stevie.
All right, well, we're going on. Okay, so we're going to start the game. Still got the same intro music. Okay, and this is being played on a Coco 3 in RGB mode. So you can press, I think, the clear key to change your color palettes. One of the things you notice right away, these little star pickups. There weren't as many pickups in the original version of the game, right?
There were, actually. In the section of the maze that is the original section, which is what you're in now, there was like at least one treasure per room, and Tandy told me to do it that way.
Okay.
Originally, when I sent Tandy, about half the rooms had treasures in them, and half of them didn't.
And he got me. All right, I was just getting ready to hit my fire button, but the bat got me. Curse that bat. All right, and you had to remind me about how the death logic works. So if you get killed by the bat, you immediately respawn in the same spot. But if you get killed by a monster, you respawn back at home base to avoid you from getting caught in an infinite loop of just getting killed over and over again, right? Oh, that's new. That skull. Ah.
That's the skull. That's one of the new monsters.
Yeah.
And that thing goes at three times normal speed, so it's a fast little bugger.
Yes, it is. And one of the things that I think was John Day, is that who's working on Return to ROM? John Day or John?
I think it's John Day. Yeah.
John Day. He had mentioned what he called the jump scare in this game, because you don't see the bad guy until you're right on top of him, right? So you don't see the room, you don't see things in advance. And so you do kind of have that jump scare.
Okay, Stevie, go up. I got to tell you how to find, whoops, well, let's see if you survive this.
There it is. And
you did.
And it still has the legacy ticka sound.
Right. Go to the left.
To the left.
Yeah, let's see if it's over here. I'm trying to guide you to the new, the other new monster.
Oh, the Pac-Man ghost?
Oh yeah, nope. You're gonna have to go up.
I have found him before when I was testing it a little bit earlier today.
I sent you a diagram and everything.
Oh well, that required me to read.
You're assuming, yeah. I was just gonna say, you're assuming Stevie's gonna read.
That's Stevie rule number 2. What?
Okay,
Me read
left,
the manual?
left from here.
Hard left.
I think it's in this room right here.
That's a new monster. And as soon as you leave the room, he goes away. Okay, so he's like a
Yeah, it's a
Pac-Man
ghost.
Ghost. Yes.
Yep. So the ghost is slow. He's one time speed, but he's sneaky. While he's at rest, he's invisible.
Ah.
And there are some nasty, tricky things I could do with the ghost that I haven't done yet.
Okay.
You could have his aggro area be like a tiny section of the room, so he's only visible while he's aggroed. So if you made the aggro area small, you'd be almost on top of him, and he would appear and head right for you.
That would be evil.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. So has anybody else seen this yet? Because Rick has made the link available for download. Has anybody else had a chance to look at this? The Temple of Rom 2? Anyone?
Haven't fired it yet.
No.
So it still runs on a Coco 1 or 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I tried it out in X-Roar. It runs in the X-Roar emulator just fine.
Is it 32K required?
I'm not sure.
Is there a downloadable executable, or you have to build it?
There's a downloadable disk image. Stevie, go up.
Go up.
From
center.
where you started.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, is it okay to publicly post your disk image? I'll do that.
Don't do that. But I don't want the entire world to know about it. But I don't. You know, if it's somebody that you think you want to know about it, I'd be okay with that. The thing I wanted to point out here is this is a new room.
Right
this
here.
This was not in the original. So
Okay.
this is a new room that I put in near the start point.
Okay.
So I could see whether or not it worked or not without, traversing the entire maze. So the rest of it is all the same, except for when you get out on the outskirts, all of a sudden where the maze used to quit, it just keeps going.
I see. Like the Energizer Bunny. Okay. Well, to me, because I had not played the original Temple ROM in a while, it seemed like there was just a plethora of more pickups than before. But you're saying that was not necessarily the case.
Nope.
Okay.
Originally, there was one per room, at least one per room, sometimes two.
Okay. Now, here's one of the things I noticed that I mentioned to you. This is the, what we'll call, I don't know what you call it, but I call it the invincibility orb.
Right.
And so
it's actually a crystal ball.
Okay. Crystal ball. And so as soon as you pick that up, you start to flash and you have momentary invulnerability, right?
Now, I think that you're not invulnerable, but you are invisible.
Oh, invisible. Is that what it is? Okay.
Now, yeah. Now, the question is, if you pick that up and you become invisible and you go into a room with a monster while you're invisible, the monster won't see you. But what happens if you just throw yourself right at the monster? That I don't know.
Oh, and
so
if you go ahead, I'm sorry.
If you walk into a room with a monster and you walk right up to it and just set yourself on it. If you don't die, then you're invulnerable. But I think that you will die.
Okay, so it's invisible, not invulnerable. And I tried to get it before the bat got me, but I timed that poorly. So I'll get it a little bit ahead of time. But that'll be interesting to see. So because right now where this one's at, it doesn't serve a lot of a purpose because by the time I get it, it'll wear off before I can get anywhere else. But we'll use this as an experiment to see how the bat. Okay, so I got it. Now the bat doesn't know where the hell I am. He just says, "Oh, I thought I knew. Now I don't know." And he's leaving the screen. But had I gotten
and any
him,
treasures you get at this point, if the bat exists and he's looking for you, all your treasures are double points.
Oh.
So when you pick it up, you'll hear a did it.
Oh, it'll beep twice when you get your present. You get your treasures
because you got double points.
All right, and the flashing just stopped.
More on off.
Yep.
That's coming for you.
Yeah.
But you picked up the crown, so when you hit the laser, you get like a super big explosion.
Oh, I didn't know that. So here's another one. So we can wait for the bat.
So what you pointed out was that the crystal balls are placed in places where there's not a whole lot of monsters near there, and you have to do a lot of walking around to get to where the monsters are. So they're not as useful as they might be. That was kind of on purpose.
Okay. Okay, and so I turned invisible and I killed the bat while he was on screen.
Now what you could have done is turned invisible and then thrown yourself at the bat to see if you died.
Ah, yeah, I forgot to try that. Okay.
Next time.
Next time. Okay. Now, has the speed of the movement, again, because I'm going to have to compare it to the original. Does he move at roughly the same speed?
He moves at roughly the same speed. He might be a little bit slower.
And I just ran into a fireball. He might be a little bit slower. Why would that be?
It might be a little bit slower. It might not. The original, the play loop ran flat out. So you went faster if there were fewer lines on the screen. So now I've got an interrupt. So your speed has been regulated.
It's frame
so
locked.
You won't go faster. You won't go. You won't go faster. You won't go slower. You'll go at a steady rate of speed, no matter how much stuff is being drawn.
Okay, here's one we can test because there's a crystal ball inside the room with the fireball. So if I can avoid the fireball, and I noticed too that this bat is real tricky and cunning in his. Damn it! I was trying to shoot in that direction, didn't work. So when you try to like steer the bat somewhere else, he's pretty slick. Very cool. Very, very cool.
He just comes straight for you.
Yeah, yeah. He kind of
Very
course corrects. So now that I know what the direction that one is, I'm going to try to hit that one again. I'm going to go to the left, and we're going to go over and see if I can get to where the crystal ball is, and then we'll test the can I crash into a monster while I'm invisible question. Assuming I don't die. Now, was it this way? I don't remember. Was it further?
So we might be here a while then.
Are we there yet?
No, it's not here. And I know you've kind of done some self-deprecating humor on the laser sound of this thing, but I actually like it. I like that ticka-ticka sound of the laser beam. It's not cheesy. Might have been what you wanted, but I think it serves the game well. And at this point, it's kind of...
Yeah, I like all the sound effects in this game, actually.
Yeah.
It's classic.
Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking. Classic.
Okay. So here's my test. I got to be quick because I'm now in his... you can't get past him. So
he's too fast.
I can't get past him to get to the crystal ball to find out. Okay.
Right. Well, oh well.
Yeah. We'll have to test it somewhere else.
Yep.
But it's great to see an update on a time. Oh, there's the Pac-Man ghost. Wacka wacka.
Oh, you are now in the new section of the maze.
Because I
went through a new portal.
A new portal. Ooh.
Yes.
That's why it's all nice and shiny.
Still got that new portal smell.
Still in blue though.
Here's
looky there.
Yeah.
Wait for the bat.
Okay.
Yeah. Come here, sucker. Oh yeah, I walked right
Invincible.
through him. It is invincible.
Invincible.
I walked through him, so
Well,
the question has been
interesting.
answered. It is invisible and invulnerable. Or
I didn't even know that.
ladies and
have to look
gentlemen, you heard it here first.
We'll see if that sticks around in the final version.
A CoCoTALK exclusive.
Yeah, I just assumed it was invulnerability. Oh, that was lucky. That guy was so close to me, he could have burned my britches. No, it feels good. I'm playing it with a thumbstick. I ought to try it with some Black Beauties and stuff too for the classic experience. But it plays well. Oh, I got the crown, which means I have bigger explosions now. And as Americans, we like our bigger explosions, don't we?
Yep.
It's like apple pie.
America, heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Oh, the super fast ghost got me. Our skull.
It's
Ooh,
the
that
skull.
Evil skull of...
You probably need to slow down just for a moment when the screen's up.
Yeah. All right, so
No,
this is...
it's too easy. I want it to be hard.
Okay, somehow I missed the portal to the new area.
And there's no return portal.
Yeah.
You want it to be hard, so are you taking advice from Nick Marentes?
His games aren't that hard.
Yeah, it's so easy a 10-year-old can play it. Just
Says
ask
you.
Jacob Moore.
Need a wimp mode.
I think this is a new section here, too.
Okay. It does have that new section smell. So,
I like what you did with the walls.
It's the same thing I always did. It's just green. It's just blue walls.
now, one of the things you mentioned is you said you fixed a bug before where there was a single pixel that was not getting drawn in the original version.
Yeah. Vertical lines at the bottom of the screen would be clipped 1 pixel too early.
Ooh.
That's the kind of thing that people are going to notice.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody noticed.
Well,
not even Tandy.
Well, you've already established that there's 45% more dungeon, and there's actually, now 1 additional pixel too. So now how much would you pay? But
So
wait,
it's
there's more.
45.2.
Yeah, so this is good. So do you have an expected date when this will be ready for the public?
Well, certainly by CoCoFest.
Okay.
I have to sort of decide what I want to do. Do I want to have it available on CD? Do I want to do digital downloads? Do I want to do, actually try to enforce, you have to pay me money to get it, or should I do like a guiltware type of a thing? So I really don't know.
What about SD cards for the Coco SDC?
It's a thought.
Custom label on SD cards, kind of like Paul Thayer did with Timberman.
Exactly.
Son of biscuit. Okay.
And boom goes the dynamite.
A book.
But the transfer.
Bruce Moore has a great idea. How about a book? Get a strategy guide and then get the download link.
I thought about that. I actually literally thought about that. I thought about writing up the backstory of Temple of Ram, the original one that I came up with that was very Catherine Kurtzish.
Okay.
Very fantasy novelish. But I sent in the instruction manual. I wrote the instruction manual, and it had all this backstory about the Temple of Ram, and you were it's like a sword and fantasy type thing, and you were a mercenary that was hired to infiltrate because the bad guys had taken over the Temple of Ram, and you were gonna, get back the treasures so that they could, invade and get their temple back, sort of a deal.
Okay.
And so Tandy threw that all out, and all of a sudden it was Temple of Ram in space.
Kids love space.
Kids love space. It's a big thing.
That's
all
what
of a sudden
Tandy
it was, you are an explorer for the Galactic Council of Worlds sent to this planet to beam down and check out what's going on down there, sort of a deal.
Yeah, that's exactly. That just to me is exactly what this game is about. When I play Temple of Rum, Galactic Council is the first thing that comes to mind.
This is where you need the clip from.
I hate you.
Well, Rick, look at it this way: you outlived Radio Shack, so now you can tell the real story.
Yes.
Yep, that's true.
That's awesome.
Temple
All right.
of Rum 2, Electric Boogaloo.
That's it. So thanks for sharing that with us, Rick. I know last week we were trying to possibly do a nighttime playthrough of that, and of course I got tired and we couldn't get everybody together to do it. If we're all not too tired and stuff, then maybe tonight we can do maybe another gaming session. It'd be great to kind of bounce between Digger 3 and all the swearing, and then maybe Temple of Rum 2, and just, to kind of keep it PG, we'll bounce back and forth.
And Steve, you were saying that you thought the game didn't have enough monsters. So there may not be enough monsters in the new section of the maze, or maybe I could add more to the previously existing section of the maze. So I'll have to think about that.
Okay. All right. Very, very cool. Well, thanks for letting us show that off here on the show. For those of you who have not seen it, that was the world premiere of Work in Progress of Temple of Rum 2 by legendary game designer Rick Adams. Can we get a thank you from you, Rick?
Thank you. You're too oh, thank you. And thank you. Yes, thank you. You're too kind.
There we go. There we go. All right.
Rick, I have a quick question. Are you still working on OmniStar 2, or is that basically done, or what's...
It's almost done, and I'm just sort of stuck on it. So I need to, I was working on it, and then all of a sudden life happened, and now I just have to get back to it.
So I was wondering, like, if you wanted to, you could probably release Temple of Rum 2 and OmniStar as a double package, kind of like Nick's been doing, where he does his back catalog type thing, and be kind of a nice double feature.
Yeah, I had thought of that. Yeah, I could do that.
That's very
Good
cool.
strategy guy.
Or you could hack your way into the OmniStar, and then when you break in, it's like Tron. You get sucked into the Temple of Rum.
The Castle of Moore.
In space.
Yeah. David Lord is saying
It's got to be in space.
In space, yes. David Lord says, could it be the Temple of Rum also? No, that's cool.
Because Bomb Threat, that was in space, right?
Yes, Bomb Threat. It's a space warehouse.
Yes.
So a warehouse on a space freighter that was owned by the Galactic Council.
Yes, yes.
It's on its way to a space output in space.
He worked the word space in it a little more, though.
Yeah,
out in the space galaxy.
I loved Steve's take on Bomb Threat, which is, there's bombs in the warehouse. I'm out of here, bro. Boss wants me to go in and save the merchandise. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me enough overtime for that.
You want to keep your minimum wage job, you do it.
That's right. The only way corporate America is going to appreciate me. All right. So now we're to that part of the program that we call updates and acquisitions. This is where we play show and tell. Did we get anything new this week? Did we work on a project this week? Did we have something to show? I know a few of us do. I know Mikey does. Michael Furman has something he wants to show off. Do you want to go first, Mikey?
Sure.
Okay, so I have stopped sharing.
Yes. And let me roll the video here.
Which Ken Reichert made me think of something. You could do a reskinned version of Shanghai that has basically all kinds of aliens and stuff on it. So that could be Shanghai in space, So Klingon symbols and stuff, So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Furman's going to share something with us. Pay attention. Shh.
Shh.
Oh, the sounds of a floppy. David Ladd would be excited. The hell is this thing? Holy crap!
acoustic coupler modem.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Look at this.
Keeping the candy flame alive.
We now have closed captioning on our video.
Keep your little buddy.
We may be
What
mocked.
are you up to? Do you mind keeping it down over there? Whatever.
It's like- we have a printer arguing at the speech sound cartridge right now.
Did you hear what I said? Sure. CoCoTALK is
He's
rocking
rocking
the
the
8-bit
8-bit
world.
world. Oh, wow. That's awesome. We need Bruce Moore in here, the guy who can really sing.
Keeping the candy flame alive.
Oh, we're in harmony now.
We may be mocked, but we'll never stop.
We may be mocked.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
That's cool.
What's your name again?
Portable data terminal.
Go find a dragon and a MC-10. Then we'll be having a real party. Hipsters.
Damn hipsters.
Oh.
There you go.
Wow.
Right. That was cool.
Use like roll paper with that?
Yeah.
Thermal. Isn't that thermal paper?
Uses thermal paper. Correct. Let me
Okay.
kill this here, and then let me try sharing something else. 1 second.
That was cool. When did you do that? When did you put that little thing together?
I put that video together over the last 2 days.
Oh, wow. And you have all this hardware, obviously. So you've got the...
That's right. I'm trying to put on the camera here, but it's not working because it's a little heavy to pick up. But I can do it that way, I guess. Oops. How do I get out of this?
I think we're going to get a copyright infringement strike from D. Bruce Moore.
Oh.
His legal team
No.
is assembling
Telling you
now.
have the royalty check right here.
All right, I'm gonna get some exercise here.
Oh,
So
my goodness.
this is the TRS-80 portable data terminal.
Wow.
And-
PT210.
Luggable. Luggable data terminal.
Yes, luggable.
Portable.
So on the
Portable
back,
means you
just
didn't
has-
need a crane.
On the back, it just has a power
Portable
plug,
meant it was
but-
something heavy that they attached a handle to.
But there's more to this. So it has 2 compartments. Let me get this one open here. Very carefully open this plastic.
Yeah, Robert Murphy says like the compact portable, right? All right, so you have
So
two-
in here, I have a roll of paper.
Okay.
And there's another little gadget. It has this little board here, which is an RS-232 adapter.
Okay.
You don't have to use the modem. That's what's in this compartment.
Right, you could plug it into a terminal station somewhere.
That's correct. For the video, I actually did drive it with the CoCo,
Wow.
but it was a
How many
separate.
baud?
They were recorded separately.
How many baud?
Well, I'll show you here.
How many baud
that's
do you
the
need?
acoustic coupler.
Yep.
So this is the device. Basically, it has a built-in 300, 110, and 300 baud modem, which the modem is not actually working, but you can change the baud rate. It has half duplex, full duplex.
Wow. Now, is that hardware switched? Yeah, those are physically switched.
Yeah,
not-
there's
not-
some switches here.
Ah.
And Yeah.
And the
So
brake
this-
key's white.
It's got a
This is
better
gadget I
keyboard than
picked
the
up.
Coco ever did.
Oh
The
yeah.
Coco ones, yeah.
And
This
that's
is
what
a
a
ni-
that's
this is
what
actually a pretty
1,000.
nice keyboard, and I have a story about that, which Mark and David actually know. That the Paper Advance key, I took the keyboard out and I started trying to clean it, and the
oxide.
Paper Advance key broke. So I actually found a replacement at my local electronics store, Anchor Electronics, for 5 cents.
Wow.
I paid 5 cents for the replacement switch, and you would never know. You would never know that if I could.
Oh,
get
not the key. You didn't buy the key. You bought a switch.
the switch,
yeah.
the switch underneath the key.
I was gonna
yeah.
say that would be
Paper-
impressive that you found a replacement key today.
The installation of the switch is a little bit crooked, but I mean, you know, probably if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't even know. So.
Okay.
And that's what $1,000 would buy you in 1982.
Oh my God! Can you?
Yeah, I
imagine?
don't remember how much it was in the catalog. It was under
$9.95.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So I
currently
saw
there's-
this on eBay and I couldn't pass it up.
Oh wow.
I say,
So-
where did you pick it up? And I'm curious. Can I ask how much you paid for it?
It was 100. I paid probably overpaid a little bit. It was $100.
Okay.
I don't think that's too bad, to be honest.
But the overpaying part was shipping. I probably could have looked around and found I have more things to show. So
And I have a question. How much did you tell your wife you paid for that?
did I tell her I paid for it? I even got it.
A friend sent it to me.
Yeah.
He'll let you know when he tells her.
It's also like
Yeah.
the word portable should be in with quotations on
Portable.
that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Portable.
Okay.
More like
do you guys-
liable.
Do you guys want to see the printing sample?
Sure.
I can hold that up so you can see it.
Hold on, let me spotlight you real quick.
Yeah.
Here.
So I have two more items to share.
Hold on
Look
one
pretty
second.
good,
while I'm
actually.
on here.
Okay.
Yeah, currently, right now, they're out on eBay. There's one out there, a starting bid of $85, 50 shipping.
Okay.
Right.
That's
I
not too
paid
bad.
about 70 for shipping, which is probably too much, but I'm just like, oh, what the heck? This seems like a really, really, really unique item. So
Absolutely.
Nice
this is just one of the sample printouts from that video.
You
And
know,
then I
you know
have
what's
more
when you
more
see
pages of just goofing around on the keyboard. You know, oops.
if you're
Gotta be something on there anyway.
you're lucky enough to be familiar with the CoCoTALK theme song produced by DeBruce Moore, when you see the lyrics, you immediately hear the song in your head. It's just become
Yes.
that ingrained, you know. So as soon as I read that printout, I can hear Bruce's voice. CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world. you know,
Yeah.
so,
I didn't want to put music. Well, I could have put music in it, but it's probably better that I didn't.
yeah, right.
Yeah, avoid
So-
that copyright ding from Bruce. So
Yeah, those
It
Canadians
Disney
are
and D. Bruce
ruthless.
Moore, they're both brutal.
Just checks in the mail.
1980
Don't send the lawyers.
He would get his Canadian
Alright.
lawyer. We have to sue you, and we're sorry.
In
So-
1984, at the Rainbow Fest, when I went, they someone had one of those there that they put a Coco one in, and made it so that the printer worked and the acoustic coupler would hook up to the phone.
One of the a PT
But it had-
310.
But it actually had a Coco one in it.
Yeah, and it
Cool.
had the LEDs worked, and
Cool.
the switches were made for the modem and the printer.
Mhm.
It's pretty
Okay,
neat.
I'm gonna move on to the next item,
Okay,
so I
okay,
don't
very
hog
cool.
it up. So
It's all
I saw
about you,
this
Mikey.
at the electronics store,
Ooh, 2400 baud Hayes smart modem.
Looks
and
like
I
brand
saw
new.
this,
$9.95.
and I'm like, I have to take this home.
That
Absolutely.
aluminum extruded case is worth at least that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think I have one
haven't
of
even
those.
I haven't even plugged it in. But the thing is, I don't even have a phone line to plug this into. I saw his smart modem, 2400, $9.95. I very quickly went to eBay and said, well, that's cheap. I think it's coming home with me.
Yeah. You can get like a magic jack or something.
Yeah, that would work, probably.
So,
Analog phone over digital.
I think there was a discussion on the mailing list about that, and it didn't work well. VoIP
yeah.
and modems.
okay, who
Okay.
is Micah L, who's in the live chat with us right now? Who is Micah? I can't read who it says here. So we got somebody with us on the panel saying, I will stay for a short time, then got to go feed my dogs. Who's that? Are you with us on the panel? And how am I pronouncing the name right? Micah L. Hello? Oh, is that Michael? I can't read.
I guess it's Michael.
Yeah, Mikael or Michael.
Is that you? Who's Mika?
That's me.
And who are you?
On Facebook.
Oh, okay. What's your name? Mike? Is it Michael?
Yeah.
Hey, all right. Sorry, I just saw you were chatting and I wasn't sure who you were. Okay, sorry. We'll get back to you in just a second, then, Mike. Okay, Mikey.
I have one more
Go
share
ahead.
item.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing some cleanup in my garage, and I found this gadget.
Okay, Dyson. 104 double-sided floppies.
Yes, it is an unopened box of double-sided floppies from Dyson Corporation.
Oh, the same people who
And
make
big
the
deal
vacuum
about
cleaners,
Dyson
right?
Corporation is the Silicon Valley Color Computer Club actually had their meetings in the auditorium at Dyson Corporation here in Santa Clara, California. And I definitely remember the guy, my dad and I always sat kind of in the back of the room. There were a bunch of other guys in the back of the room, and guess what they were doing?
Copying software.
Flipping tapes and discs.
Well, it
so,
depends. I guess it
backing
depends
up
on. Yeah,
software.
I guess it depends on what type of gathering you go to. Because in some gatherings, when people are in the back of the room, they're doing something else. They're passing back and forth a little of we say organic herbal remedy. So
I picked this up sometime last year. It's been sitting in the garage. It finally made its way up here
That's
to
cool.
my
I
office.
mean, it's shrink wrapped.
Yeah, it's shrink wrapped. I picked it up at Halted Specialties, which was a very well known, electronics surplus store here in the Silicon Valley area, and they were around for like 40 years, and they just closed last year, unfortunately. They couldn't date, so I went on some of their closing days, and I think I purchased 3 items that day. I think I got this box of floppies, which I should have purchased all of the ones they had, but I think I just got one. Some DIN connectors, and of course a keyboard.
I've gotten DIN connectors from them before. Nice price too.
Do you guys remember a Dyson floppy that you'd buy that would be one to align or something your floppy drive with? It had,
an alignment. They had alignment floppies and cleaning floppies. I have a cleaning one here
I
somewhere.
had a cleaning floppy.
Yeah, you had to squeeze a little cleaning juice on. It had like a little scratchy surface, and you put the little cleaning solution on there, and you ran a disc any or something, and a head cleaner.
Isopropyl alcohol.
But
is that what it was?
I wasn't speaking of a cleaning one for physical, but I think it's for testing speed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the J&M disk controller, if you had the advanced JDOS, actually had the memory minder software built in that used that alignment disk to align your heads.
That's
and so I have one last item. I've been doing some programming. I'm currently working on DW term. So I think in the near future we'll have a new release and some new features for DW term.
And remind us what that is for those who don't remember. This is DriveWire for Disk Extended Color Basic, a terminal.
It's a terminal program for Disk Basic that communicates over DriveWire, and I had made that as just a programming experiment in I think 2017 or so, and then in 2018 you guys were here on CoCoTALK going, well, it's impossible to use DriveWire from Basic, and I'm like, well guys, I already wrote that, so I released it.
Hold my beer.
Am I allowed to ask any of the features on the new one, like say Coco 3 support, or?
It has currently can on a Coco 3 it can do double speed, and it can also do 80 column text. But I'm planning to add color. I'm planning to add ANSI graphics support.
Okay.
As well.
That's what Robert Murphy just asked.
Coco VGA support. Those are the three things I'm working on for DW.
Cool. Nice.
What a guy.
That is cool.
All right, that's it for me.
All right, Mikey.
Back to you,
Thanks for the project updates and acquisitions. And now, Nick Marentes, were you going to show something, because Fuzzy has not seen or heard of your new game Gunstar? Hard to imagine that people have not anybody has not heard of Gunstar.
It's been 5 years in the making.
Did you want to share something, or is there a link?
Well, I can show my the video I released a couple of months back, just a promo video. The game itself is pretty well finished now. I'm just doing packaging and designing how I'm going to sell it and all that. But I can show you the promo video I did back then.
Okay.
It's fairly up to date. So it's only a short video, only goes for about a minute.
Okay.
So let me attempt to share a screen, I guess. I haven't done this in a while.
And then after you, I'd like to hear from our new friend, Michael, who I don't think we've spoken to on the air before. So we'll get Michael in the call.
Okay.
He's back from walking his dogs.
View menu, Nick.
Sorry?
The view menu.
Yeah, I've got it. I think you should be seeing a screen now. So this is just a little promotional video of the game itself.
I'm hearing an echo now.
Here, I'm gonna hit play. And that's it.
That looks awesome.
Wimp or hero? And David Ladd is one of the enemies in the game, it looks like.
Now let me try and get my screen back so I can unshare it. Stop share. There we are. So that's it.
Michael, I remember Mike. Hey, dude.
Hey.
This is the first time you've been on the show, but I know you. You've sent us content before and everything.
I listened to a lot of them, but I never got on.
Yeah. How you doing, man? Welcome.
I'm doing all right, I guess.
Do you have Cocos?
I got a Coco 3 that I bought from what's his name on in our groups. Can't think of his name right now.
Is it Mark Marlette from Cloud9 or
Cloud9?
Nah.
Okay.
Never forget what's his name.
You know that guy who does that thing.
I have to look through my
guy with the thing.
He's probably on here and he's probably like, jerk.
Oh well, you're keeping the beard ratio. You're keeping the beard ratio up for us. You're giving Fuzzy a run for his money there.
Yep.
That's right.
This may be our beardiest show.
Yeah.
You can't go retro without you can't go retro without the beard. You just can't. So.
Man.
So what do you do for a living? What do you do?
What's that?
What do you do for a living?
I was driving truck. Now I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh,
I've just bearded up too. I feel a little inadequate here, so I had to beard up.
Testosterone in here.
Yeah.
Testosterone, is that
The other
is that like a Chef Boyardee rejected name?
It's the other San Francisco treat.
Cool. Well, we're glad you could join us. You want to do a quick This Is Your Life? Tell us a little bit about your backstory when you did Coco when Coco was new and what you're doing these days, or you don't have to.
I don't got much to say because I wasn't even thinking about that. But how I got into Coco, well, it started in second grade with the Apple IIe, and I wanted to learn a program so bad, but we didn't have no money, so I walked to the school in the summertime and got my teacher to let me learn to program on the Apple II. Then we got a Timex Sinclair and a Coco 2 and a Coco 3. And then we got OS 9.
Ah.
And OS 9 is still, well, I don't know, Nitro or OS 9. One of them my favorite. Best operating system ever.
Of course.
So,
There's no accounting for
All right.
taste.
And I think there's at least one Australian on here that will disagree with you.
Yeah, but he's still wrong.
How much is Curtis paying you?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Then was thinking of working on some video games for her. I don't know. I've always been thinking that. We'll see.
And where
Have
are
you
you?
done
Where do you
programming?
reside in the world now?
Where do you live?
What part of the world are you in now?
Oh, I'm in Ava right now, Ava, Missouri.
Okay.
My land's out in Van Zant.
Excellent. Excellent.
I'm just staying in Ava right now.
All right. Very cool.
Is that near Stephen Van Zandt?
Yeah, or Ronnie
Yeah.
Van Zant. Or... Very cool. Well, we're glad you could join us. Feel free to chime in at any time here as we're going through here. Anybody else have an update or an acquisition or something they want to share? Show and tell time?
Yeah, I got something.
Okay, well, Mark Overholzer raised his hand first, John Lowry.
All right.
So,
Go
we'll
ahead,
Just
Mark.
been sent to school.
We'll get to you in a minute, mister.
Fine with me.
I don't like your sass.
Yes, go ahead, Mark D.
So I just received this week one of the new Joey serial switchers with the blue knob.
Ooh.
Anyway, plug up the 3 serial devices into my Coco of my choice and switch between them. So I can
That's
plug
awesome.
drive wire in one, and what else do I plug into it? I'll plug something in. I'll probably
Did you request blue, or was that assigned to you?
Yes, I did. I had a choice of, I think, 6 colors. So
Comes in your choice of designer
Collect
colors.
them all.
Yes.
there's like red and yellow and black and white and I think green.
Red, green, blue, yellow, black, and white, I believe.
Wow.
Yep, that sounds like what I remembered. So, and then the other thing I got was this little thing here, which is there was a company back in the 80s called Stellation 2. 2 is the number 2. And they had a couple cards they made. This one was called The Mill, and it's basically a 6809 on an Apple II card. And this one is a Japanese gentleman basically built this. This unit right here is the little switchboard that lets it run OS 9 level 1.
Wow.
So anyway, I can boot OS 9 level 1 on my Apple IIe.
That is
Cool.
pretty cool. Finally,
Is the CPU
finally a
socketed on
good
that,
use.
though?
Finally a good use
Yeah,
for the
it's all
Apple II.
socketed.
Yeah.
Yep, everything's socketed here.
So we
There's
could
the
make a 6309 optimized version
Oh,
for it then if we wanted.
Yes, I could. I'm planning on doing that once I get it stable. So pop it out. So anyway, I got to get the OS 9 stable because most of the disk images have weird issues with them. So
Is it the
Anyway.
is the issue
No,
the
that's
image
normal.
itself, or is it's just like a bad corrupted image, or
yeah, that seems to be what it is. There seems to be something a little bit wrong with it. So
Okay.
I'm trying to find a stable version and get it to boot consistently. So
Luck.
yep.
okay?
Thank you, Nick. That means a lot.
Yeah, beyond the trash can icon, you're on your own.
Right.
Exactly.
I never thought we'd have to do an ease of use for an Apple II.
And then what's the other one that Boise worked on? It was Libra 09. Was that for the Atari where you put a 60?
That was for the
in
Atari.
The Atari.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he did offer to a guy who made a run of these, a clone of these 7 years ago to help try to build an Apple II version. So
Actually, I'm looking more like Mark Overholzer than Ron Delvaux right now for my beard. I have to say, I just need to get the scientific goggles going on here. We're definitely have
$4 at Harbor Freight.
Yeah, we got a beard heavy show today, and I'm proud of that. Very cool. Is that all is that the end of your update for today, Marco?
yeah, that's all I have for today.
Okay. And then next, Mr. Poopy Pants himself, John Lowry's got something he wants to share with us. So.
This is something I found. I'm gonna have to share a screen real quick.
Okay.
But this is something I found that TJB Chris, who posted in Facebook, and everybody's been, tripping out over his deload stuff,
Okay.
which is all really cool. Well, I've been exploring his channel, and I found this one. Just, I don't know. You may have seen it before, but I've never seen it before, and so I just wanted to show it real quick. And if I can minimize this here. Okay, so I've got MAME running Coco 3. So, this is a Coco 3 emulator, right? But if you poke FFDE with any value, oops. How about?
No, you don't have poke on there.
Yeah.
Sorry, my keyboard is
proper spelling optional.
MAME's keyboard is bad.
and then clear 113 or 71 hex. Whoops. Okay, and then how about a number?
Just hit the up arrow key to repeat your last thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
It
And
works
then
for
if
me,
you-
just not in Disk Basic.
Then if you execute AO27, which is where Coco 1s and 2s jump to, when you turn it on, whoops, how about a
H
and hex AO27, you turn your Coco 3 into a Coco 2. And you can prove it by like the with32 command is gone.
So you just disabled the microware extensions.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of turned your Coco 3 into a Coco 2, which I thought was kind of cool. And then, you can...
Is there anything we can do to turn it into an MC10? Can we further regress
Can we get
here?
it down even further?
You just lift the window shade up a little bit, and then you...
And actually deload works here because you can like with the Coco 3 you can and I've done this forever, you can use deload to deload is the same as hitting reset on my Coco 3. Calling deload. See, but if you clear that FFDE, so FFDE, I'm not sure what that's usually like pointing where you point to the offset for the video. I'm pretty sure. Isn't that what that's for? Or no, that's after that. But I guess that must like enable the ROM for the Coco 2 or something. Or it's that and executing AO27.
Yeah, that's the RAM-ROM switch, basically. It turns
Yeah.
the ROMs on or off.
Okay, so that must enable the ROM, and then that's memory location 113. So when you execute,
Yeah, that's your cold warm start vector,
Yeah.
or flag, I should say.
and then all of a sudden your Coco 3 is a Coco 2. I just thought that was kind of cool. I'd never seen that before.
Is there going to be a test afterwards? Because I kind of was not been keeping track. Of
No,
all this.
that was it.
Okay. All right.
I'm done here.
So we're gonna have to turn on the Stevie Con scale.
Yeah, no, it's just something I ran into off of that same guy's site, and I just thought that was neat. I never saw that before. It works on a real Coco 3.
Apparently, FFDE changes ROM memory into RAM memory,
and vice versa. So
exactly.
It must be because when you turn a Coco 3 on, it goes into it ends in all RAM modes. So that must be re-enabling the ROM.
Yeah, it is.
Also
And
prevents
is the
it from
ROM
being
an exact
patched.
copy of the Coco 1 and 2 one?
It depends. I noticed that because on that website, his video, he's using real Coco 3 hardware, and he shows that even though if you enable the Coco 2 ROMs, the deload the code is still gone because the Coco 3
can't do
used it. Right. The Coco 3, they took out the deload function so they could put in the hooks to put the extensions in for the Coco 3.
Okay,
So, because nobody was really using the deload command, so they got rid of it.
Yeah.
And so, if you do that on real hardware and then execute a deload command, it just kind of crashes the computer. But I noticed in MAME, it still works to reboot the computer. So it's almost like they're really putting the real Coco 2 ROMs in place.
So it should be possible to do that, copy the ROMs, the Coco 2 ROMs to RAM again, poke in the missing deload code, and then run it. It should come up as a Coco 2 with deload.
You're absolutely right. That's true. I bet you could do that if you really needed the deload function. Or you could also just rewrite the deload command.
Yeah, probably write a better one.
Yeah, but no, you're right. You probably could do that just as almost like an exercise or just to do it.
Yeah.
You're right. That could probably be done. But it just kind of goes to show how emulators are kind of fudging in a lot of places.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Mikey got out his jeweler's lenses there.
I can't see you.
Yeah,
You're fuzzy.
You can. Looks like you can see into the future.
He's been assimilated.
Yeah. Yeah. Resistance is futile.
What was that movie? Brazil?
Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a weird movie that is.
I had to join the club.
Yeah.
Plus, I wanted to look at this connector.
I love the little.
Makes your eyebrows bigger.
Yeah. Brian Weasler, you've usually got something to make us jealous with. Have you acquired anything new this week?
I don't know if it's anything to make anybody jealous or not, but back in the day, and this is probably one of the few things that I ever got rid of, and I recently reacquired one, and that is the DMP. Whoops, get her in the right. Oh, I got the right screen here. Hold on, let me do this. Sorry.
You got one of those
There we go.
David O'Connor multi-camera things? Yeah, okay.
Yep, so I got a DMP 130 there. Got made
Nice.
a printer. So this is one that's one I had for a long time and did a lot of printing on, and we were talking about some of those text editing softwares, and I used TS Edit and did some reports and things like that myself and printed them all out on that. So that was kind of fun. Kind of picked that one up here recently, and then to go along with it, I also saw that somebody had a box of 3 replacement ribbons.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
So
are they
that's
still
9
sealed?
of them. That's probably more than I'll ever use in my lifetime now.
Still sealed in the bag?
Yes, yeah, these are all the originals. Yep, they're still in the plastic bags there, and even have the I guess if you want to call them the rubber gloves that are in there.
Oh wow!
That come with them, so you can.
Oh yeah, you can smear your ink on yourself.
Oh, like
I forgot about
when you
those.
the little hair dye gloves that you get.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
So those are in there, so you can. I mean, you have to take the cartridge apart, the ribbon cartridge apart to replace those. But yeah, that was kind of neat. And then also just a couple other little things is some dust covers. So I got dust cover for the DMP.
Oh wow!
130
in the bag.
In the bag, yeah. And I also got a disk drive.
Nice.
Cover. Go with that.
Wow.
And then 2 multi-pack covers as well.
Wow.
Little dust covers there that go over those. So.
Wow, I've never seen a multi-pack dust cover. They made a dust cover for just about everything.
Yeah. I have a monitor one too that fits over the CM8.
Wow.
Kind of a
Just
neat
don't
one.
leave the CM8 on while you have it on there. That's for sure.
No. That would,
All right.
Hey, things get a little warm.
It would shrink wrap
It would
itself
shrink wrap
very
it, yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, that would not be a. That would not be a
Yeah,
great
those things
picture.
would yellow something fierce too.
Right.
Brian, your printer looks clean, like it's new.
Yeah, this one is actually in pretty good shape. Some of the DMPs that are out there, they're really yellowed. This one has a little bit of yellowing on it, but really it wasn't too bad. So cleaned up fairly well. I mean, I don't know if I'll do any sort of writing of that at all. I'll probably just leave it the way it is. It does print and everything. The ribbon that's in it is probably a little weak. So I might go ahead and break open one of these here and put a new ribbon in it and
hit
start
some
hammering
WD
away. So
If
WD-40.
Yeah, WD-40. If your ribbon is old, dried out, spray some WD-40 on it. Let it set for a bit.
I've seen that. I mean, are you talking about like you spray the whole ribbon, just like saturate it like inside inside of it?
Yeah, let it soak in.
But I'll have to maybe try that little trick there. Maybe try that with this ribbon here, and if I don't like it, then I got some refills I can use then. So that's all I got, sir.
Oh, very cool. Paul Thayer, welcome to the program.
Hi, Paul.
You're muted.
Yep, sorry, you caught me in the middle of coding. How you guys doing today?
Good, man. Good thing.
Good. I don't have any updates. I'm just still plugging away at Downland. Thought I'd hang out and listen for a while.
Well, we're glad you're here. So just so Chris knows, Fuzzy, Paul's one of the guys who's made some new software for the Coco this past year. He made a cool game for the Coco 3 called Timberman, which is, by the way, I'm wearing the Timberman beard. Timberman is a game inspired by Ron Delvaux.
Starring Ron Delvaux.
Starring Ron Delvaux. So one of our new stars to the software community, Paul Thayer. Thanks for being here.
He also did a Christmas version.
That's true.
Yeah,
Christmas,
this year.
Yeah.
The original game was, I think, 2016. I think I did that.
Okay. Time flies, man.
I'm coming due for another one.
Yeah. He's working on a successor to Downland. Do you remember Downland at all, Chris?
Sounds
a cartridge
familiar.
game. Yeah. Well, he's working on a sequel to Downland. So
And Coco 3 graphics this time.
Yeah.
I think it was Michael Ackermeyer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, Paulie, are you looking at having it done for Coco Fest or no? Okay.
I don't really have a goal, so
okay.
no.
Okay.
If miracles happen, sure.
Okay.
Are you going
to
to be at Coco Fest this year, Paul?
Yeah, I actually booked all my stuff.
Excellent.
This last week.
Is the rest of the Thayers going to be here too? Your brother?
I haven't heard from him.
Okay.
On it.
And his wife? Okay.
Based on that, yeah, I haven't heard anything on that. But
you guys are
the one thing I didn't do is I didn't get my hotel room yet, but I'll figure that out as I go.
All right. And I
might just bring a sleeping bag and hang out in the conference room.
Did you reserve a table?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
I was gonna say because I got some extras. So, very cool, very cool, very talented family. The Thayers, the Thayer brothers, the Thayer sister-in-law, all very talented. So,
we're gonna jam out again this year. I gotta get a set list for Curtis.
Is your wife musical or singable or anything like that?
My wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I call her a cerebral musician.
Okay.
Because she knows all of the stuff, can perform, but chooses not to perform anymore. So,
okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So the talent runs deep with the Thayers, huh?
Yeah.
So that's cool. Very cool.
And my grandmother taught herself to play piano by ear. So
wow.
I think that's where we get it from.
Okay.
And then my grandfather on my dad's side was let's just say he was an inventor. He was a very creative person. So his main job was he was a glass blower for neon signs back in the day.
Oh wow.
So that was a pretty cool thing. But by the time I knew him, he was well out of that game. So
I gotta say it's gotta be exhausting. You'd run out of breath eventually, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I have asthma. Gee, I wonder how that worked out.
You've got to make sure you turn them off first.
All right. Anyway, that's enough for me, I guess.
All right, that's cool. Anybody else got an update? Update acquisition? Anything they want to share? Anything you came across you found interesting? Or
I have an acquisition, but it's not really Coco related, so I don't know if
that's fine.
Well, mine wasn't. So.
Oh, well,
right ahead.
True. Okay, I'll just share the desktop like so. Oh, is it? There we are. I got one of those just yesterday.
Oh,
what is that?
From a good friend of mine, a fellow TRS-80 person, John Benson. That's it's a System 80, which is a TRS-80 Model 1 clone. It was available in the US as I think they called it a PMC 80, and I think in England it was called the Video Genie. I can't remember. But Dick Smith over here in Australia was importing them. They're a Hong Kong-based clone. And basically it's a TRS-80 Model 1. It has a built-in cassette player, as you can see. This one is the Mark II. Well, this is an actual photo of mine. This is from the website. But
it has wood grain on the side?
Yeah, wood grain on the side.
Wow.
I thought that was cool. So it really looks retro.
Yeah.
It's got a cassette player built in. It's got the tape counter, VU meter with a volume control as well.
And what was the display? I don't see a monitor there. So did you have to connect a separate composite display?
Yeah, separate composite monitor. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So any green screen monochrome.
So that's running basically a Z80. That's a TRS-80 clone.
That's basically a TRS-80 Model 1. Yeah.
And
the Dick Smith was actually a system that the Amigo guys just covered on their Retro Gaming Presents when they did Outhouse, the original Model 1 Outhouse. They were doing the System 80.
Yeah, yeah.
Any serial port on it?
No serial. Good question. I don't know. The TRS-80 Model 1 never had one, but I don't think the System 80 had one. I only got it yesterday, so it's all new to me still.
What's the serial number?
312. No, I can't remember.
Is it functional?
Apparently, yes. So I'll be testing that today.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my acquisition. Not Coco related, but it could be.
It's retro related. It's Tandy Radio Shack related. Guys, don't let me forget we've got a new Joey and Coco to show off too. So before we travel off into some other tangent, just remind me. Note to self: we have a new Joey and Coco to cover.
That's cool, Nick.
Yeah, that is cool. That is very cool.
Yeah, I just like the retro wood grain look on it.
You can't go wrong with wood grain.
That's right.
So,
Steve, you look so intellectual when you stroke your beard.
You know, I'm getting used to this. I really like it. I feel so much more manly and
like a professor.
Yeah.
You guys, you're talking about the wood grain. Out on eBay, there actually is an original apple that somebody has listed on eBay for $1.5 million.
Oh, that's all. That's all.
And it's the wood frame that they originally did it in. So if anybody's got some spare,
And I was going to say you can't go wrong with wood grain. Just ask Atari.
Yeah, right.
They know.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yes.
Well,
yeah,
the wood,
$1 million.
the wood grain on this, the wood grain on this is actually plastic. It's just made to look like wood.
Faux wood grain, but
it's
Genuine
it's
imitation wood grain.
That's right. It's a fake woody.
Yeah,
Fake wood.
the first apples that are out, most of those are worth upwards of $1 million if you have an original, Apple One essentially.
Yeah.
Do they have them at your work, John? On display in a case?
I wouldn't know. I don't work in California.
So there was an Apple One that was on eBay like a couple months ago, and the funny part about it is I read the description of the auction, and it's like, I met the guy who owned that Apple One at the Vintage Computer Festival West, and I guess he decided it's time to sell it, which is sad.
How much was he asking for it?
When I looked at it, it was some $600,000 or something. I don't know what it finally went for.
Yeah, if I had one, I'd probably cash out.
Is that American? 600 American or Canadian?
Are people actually paying those prices for them too?
Yes.
Yeah, for an actual original, Apple One, essentially.
The fun part is that guy was in Canada somewhere, but he said that he acquired the Apple One because somebody wanted to trade in for Apple II, and I don't know if they had. He said something like they didn't have the trade-in program in Canada, so he just took the Apple One and made some deal with the guy to give him an Apple, fix up. He was a technician, fixed up a used Apple II and said, "Here, I'll take your, let's just do the trade."
I'll take your old crappy Apple One.
He put it on eBay. Right? That made me so sad.
What? How long ago? Was that a long time ago when he traded the Apple II for that?
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
The Apple One trade-in was in 1978 or 77. So
he's had it probably that long.
So to make this Coco related, what is the what is the Coco One serial number 00001 go for? Do you think?
$100.
Lee Veal won't sell it, so
there is somebody that has it.
Yeah, Lee Veal
What
does.
serial number mine is?
And so, what do you think it's worth?
Do we know who has it?
Lee Veal.
Who's that?
He used to come to Coco Fest. He retired to Mexico when he retired, and then I think he did move back to the States. He used to hang out with John Donaldson and a few others from Texas.
He literally has serial number 1.
Yeah, he brought it to the show. He actually showed all of us.
Yeah, the pictures of it are floating around.
Not Bob Rosen, is it?
No, Lee Veal is the guy's name.
Oh, you got his name, yeah.
He's got a beard
how much
too,
he paid
so,
for
he fit
it?
right in.
So no idea what it's worth, huh?
Well,
it's not selling it, so.
Being its birthday year.
Yeah, I mean,
when
you say what is something worth, it's worth whatever someone else is willing to pay for.
Yeah,
you know.
How much would somebody here pay $1,000 for serial number 1?
Like I know, I don't know.
For it.
I don't know if this value has changed, but I remember Mark Marlette talking about, he had purchased the Coco 3s when you bought like a carton of them, or there was like 4 of them in the box inside another box or something like that, where they're all like in the box in the shipping box, or I might be
potpourri.
So he's saying he had some of those, and that there were some of those that were he said I wouldn't sell it for less than $1,000, because it's just one of these rare. Is a Coco 3 by itself worth? And I'm kind of paraphrasing and fudging the numbers, but it was it was up there, and he was like, yeah, there are people who would pay that and have paid that, and so it's like, what something's worth is what somebody's willing to pay for it. And
exactly.
I don't know that there's a market for a Coco 1 serial number 1 because only one exists. So you can't really compare it to anything.
Right. And well, you have to understand that there's not the people who created the original Apple Ones are famous people that movies have been made about. Everybody knows who we're talking about and what their names are. It's not the same with the color computer. I mean, you're talking about hardware that Steve Wozniak literally touched with his own hands and when they were making
Right.
them.
And I think the closest thing we would have to that would be something like maybe what the image producers worked on, where they had that executive wood grain cocoa on a piece of
if you had
plywood.
the prototype, like there's that prototype Coco 3 board with all the extra chips to simulate the gimme. That would be worth a fair bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely would. But I mean, still, the people who made it aren't like household names like Steve Jobs.
Well, the other thing is too, the Coco 1 is basically a Motorola reference design. It wasn't all that
Right. Yeah,
original.
like the Apple One was an original concept that,
Yeah, like Woz came up with how the video worked and everything else,
Yeah,
to get that. So it's a bit more unique.
Neat.
Also, Apple's still in business as a company and bigger than ever.
Thankfully, I got a job to go to Monday.
That Apple One that's on the eBay for 1.7 million now is in Boca Raton, Florida.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That is the one where I was talking to I'm actually reading it. It says here, the provenance of this Apple One system is number 79. I took possession of it in 1978 as part of a trade-in for an Apple II.
Wow.
And he had it in Montreal.
Boca Raton is less than an hour away from me. I didn't go by.
I'm not sure how it got from Montreal to.
Stevie's gonna go steal it.
At least I won't have to pay for shipping. So
this is a machine.
Snowbird.
Never
It'll be
played,
fanboys
right?
all over again. Huh?
Yeah, shipping is 110,000.
So this is a machine you would never turn on. You just look at it.
The very thing I feared, somebody's looking to get married at the last minute, so I gotta take off.
He's got an emergency wedding.
Okay, Fuzzy.
Thank
Nice
you.
to
Talk about
hang
it.
out with you.
Thanks for popping by.
Yeah, thanks
Come
for
by
joining
next
us.
week.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Catch y'all later.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
That was awesome.
Hey, Ron, they had all 12 or 13 of the Apple Ones last year at BCF West.
He
fired
was
up.
being polite. He's getting tired of hearing this Apple crap is going on. Is what's happening. So, yeah, that is cool.
Well, he didn't have to leave. We could all have been witnesses.
Yeah, right. That's true. And he mentioned that. He mentioned that. He goes, "Yeah, I don't have anywhere to be unless I get a call for a wedding." I'm thinking, how many people do these emergency last minute weddings?
Look what you guys have done. Think about this long and hard.
Maybe the baby will be called Coco.
Yeah.
I need a wedding stat.
We're gonna name our kid. We're gonna name our kid Woz after that 45-minute breakout discussion on the Apple One. So
I need to take a shower.
Well, I think the reason we were discussing is that if any one of us ever got an Apple One, you could sell it and then get the prototypes from Radio Shack.
Get a whole bunch of Cocos with that money, right?
It would be nice to see a Coco with a serial number 2 or 3.
Yay, non-Coco. Apple IIc.
I would love to see one of the wood grain original prototypes of the Coco One, though. That would be awesome. We do have the prototype of the Coco 3. I think Mark's got it right now because they were trying to figure out chips on there. Someone else had it.
Who's Mark?
Marlette.
Oh.
Very cool. All right, have we come to the end of the acquisitions and updates? Anybody else have anything else they want to update us with? Anyone? Bueller? Ron Delvaux?
No, sir.
Hey,
I
Ron.
am through and through.
Ron, thank you for putting this together today and getting Chris
sure.
on the show. Ron,
I'm already digging for our next one.
Ron is our celebrity booking agent, and you've come through with some incredible guests, Ron.
Are you at least working on Fletcher?
The trick is not to pester him to death,
Yeah. I had to do an emergency shave too. Sorry about that. The beard was getting a little itchy. So
yeah.
And how many lunches has Ron put on his CoCoTALK expense account?
Yeah.
Ron, I want to thank you for a couple of reasons. Number one, you're an awesome guy, right? You just bring a lot of joy and happiness and contagiousness to the community and to this show. So Rob Inman says, still no Charles Tandy. I think we've got him in the same freezer as we do Walt Disney. So we will thaw them out and get them in here on a future show.
Ron did say he was going to dig up another interview. So that might be
dig up another interview. Yeah, Ron. So I want to thank you just for being an awesome guy. And I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we had some technical difficulties right before the show, and then I got into like a really bad Debbie Downer mode. I'm like, oh, I don't know, I can't do this, blah blah blah. And Ron kind of talked me off the ledge. He's like, listen, man, we're here. we're going to talk about the Coco. Just shut up, man, and let's have a good show, you know? And so it's just like, Ron, you're just the awesomest dude ever. And I just want to say thank you for being you, man. You
I ain't nobody. Jeez. I'm just a guy with 2 or 3 Cocos.
2 or 3 Cocos. 2 or 3 Cocos per square feet. So.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the game that the next Rick Adams game. It's going to be where you have to venture through Ron Delvo's garage. It's going to be called Temple of Ron.
So yeah,
I think Delvo's temple would be better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
one cool thing is most of the stuff I have, most of all of it works, which is amazing.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, you can't say that with new tech, but old tech, pretty much you dust it off, you know, you hit it with a hammer and you stare at it real hard and then boom, it works, you know. So
my cell phone's 3 years old. Got thrown in the trash.
We watched Sockmaster fine tune his CRT just by smacking it a few times.
Remember that?
So
Yeah.
It was just
Like every 30 seconds for like an hour.
He had to give the monitor a smart wrap.
Yeah. Right?
Is it time for Joey and Coco yet?
What's that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Joey and Coco.
Oh, that's right. See, I told you guys to remind me of that. All right. So let's do
your
that
reminder.
right now.
There you go.
All right. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back a few just to put things in perspective. Thank you, Mark D. Overholzer. So if you remember a few panels ago, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Can you guys? I'm sorry.
Can you talk a little quieter?
Sometimes it feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can you make it a little bigger?
I don't get asked that
That's
very
what she
often,
said.
but yes. Okay. So,
Could you make it pink?
all right. We can. We were, Jason Reichert's got knobs of many colors, so we have choices here.
Coming up on hour 7.
Yes. So a couple of I don't know, what do you call these? Issues, episodes? What do you call a comic strip? A couple of
episodes.
Comic strip. Oh.
So a couple of strips ago, we had the conversation with Joey and Coco where he was saying, I got a friend who's got a Coco, and the Coco was like, what? You mean I have a neighbor? I've got a friend here, and it's like, yeah. And then he asked what the serial number was, and he goes, well, I'll go find out. And he's like, well, there was this one guy who was a royal pain, right? So what are the chances that then your friend's Coco is the same? We got to look at that Coco. We got the serial number of that Coco. And it turns out here, he's like, yeah, it's the serial number 01351. And then Coco's like, no, it can't be. That's that jerk from the assembly line. What's the big deal? He somehow got some hand-wound resistors, and he thinks he's a big shot, right? Hey, he got the 16K extended color basic upgrade for Christmas. For the love of Pete, now there'll be no living with him. Like I said, this guy's got an ego because he's got special wraps, and now he's got an upgraded extended basic. So that's where we left off on number 14, previously on Joey and Coco. And so now let's see, world premiere, drum roll, please. Let's see, Joey and Coco number 15. And this one's called It Doesn't Matter. And here we have Joey talking to Coco, and he says, it doesn't matter that Glenn's Coco has 16K extended color basic and we don't. We still have fun. And Coco's like, yeah, I guess you're right, kid. And now Joey's playing on the Coco, and on the final panel, Coco says, is there a 32K upgrade yet? So it sounds like there's some one-upmanship going on here, right? It's like, I got to be better than that other guy, right? So there we have it, the latest Joey and Coco for your comic strip viewing pleasure. Thank you to Bruce Moore, as always, for bringing us your multimedia experiences. Cool stuff. We've had a great show today, and I don't even mean that sarcastically or self-deprecating. We literally had a great show today. And I want to thank Ron and Chris and everybody else in the panel. And we had a great turnout. At one point in time, there was over 40 people watching us live. So we peaked pretty well today with our live viewership. between Facebook and YouTube. We still got 25 people watching us live right now. So let's take a moment to thank some of the people who've been with us along for the ride. And then, so this is a funny Nick Marotta thing. Then when he was showing the video and talking about sudo, which is a Linux command, he's saying, well, was that a Phil Collins song, sudo? Nick Marotta, always with the quips there. So what's his name again? Nick Marotta. All right. You guys.
Soundboard. Yep, here we go.
All right. Nick Marotta. You got to do it 3 times. Nick Marotta. All right. So Nick Marotta with the quips. We've had so much live chat, I can't even back scroll to the beginning of it. So, but Al Hartman has been here, Ken Reichard, Rob Inman, Mikey, Nick Marotta, Robert Murphy, and Sixie. Karen is here, and Paul Fitch has been here, and Dave and Sharon have been here. A lot of people have been here. Dave's not here, man. Yeah. Ken Reichard, Alexander Wallace, Viva Mexico has been here. Dave and Sharon, and all kinds of people have been here. David Lord has been here, and Nimble has been here. Paul Fitch, you name it, you guys were here. We appreciate the fact that you tune in every week, and we're sorry.
I think we have the most Daves. I think that's the most popular.
A lot of Daves. How about we do this? Let's go ahead and roll the closing outro.
Wait a minute, man. Weren't you going to have a Gimes?
We did.
We did.
Another one?
You missed it.
We can do it again, Ron.
Another one?
Yeah, it's a
Watch the show, Ron.
Okay.
Really good.
Well, we can do it again for you. Hold on.
Did you guys like my video enough to see it again?
You know what? I would say absolutely some other time.
Okay.
That's me.
Too corny.
All right. How about this? Just an encore presentation of the latest Coco Thoughts just for Ron Delvo.
All right.
And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. In Florida, when the temperature drops below 50 degrees, residents think they have been thrust into a real-life game of Ice Master.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click the Patreon link at our website at cocotalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
CoCoTALK would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvo, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Tom C., Rob Inman, Mark Bosley, Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, David O'Connor, Brian Weasler, Terry Steggy, Nick Marotta, John Strong, and many more, especially to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and James Differendaffer for making my head explode. Please help support the Coco community by visiting some of its various contributors. A list of resources is available at imacoconut.com. That's IMACOCONUT.com. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. So nice, you must say it thrice. It's Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta. And still on the panel with us is, he's finally made his Apple II worth using by putting a 6809 in there. Mark D. Overhoser's still with us. He's still here. He's still Canadian. He's still sorry. L. Curtis Boyle's with us. John Lowry is here with us, just poking his way into deload mania. Michael Furman is here with his printers and his modems and all kinds of other accoutrements.
RS-232, drive-wire, serial,
if only David Ladd was here.
ESP8266.
Yeah.
Okay, cue the snoring sound effect.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Awesome, thank you.
If only David Ladd was here, he could say something like,
oh, I'm much happier breaking stuff.
Yeah, and then we've got Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta. Thanks for being here, as always. Ron Delvo, our celebrity.
Space Force, man.
Celebrity booking agent, Paul
Space
Thayer.
Force.
Space Force.
Ramen Space.
That's it. Paulie Thayer. Mark Bosley is here. Brian Weasler is here. And Jason the Coco Man Reichard. And
have a look at this.
Nick Marentes is there.
Oh, crikey.
The soundboard has been here. Stevie Stroh has been here.
Stevie Stroh, of course. We love Stevie Stroh.
DeBruce Moore, love you too, man. And what else was I going to say? Oh, so I'm just going to throw this out there because there's still a few people watching. We have mentioned that we would like to get a few other people to help us stream the show. And so we're working on that internally, but I'd like to extend that invitation externally. If you are someone who would help us like to stream the show for when myself or Mark Bosley or Rob Inman is unavailable to be a streamer or backup streamer, we're looking for a few good folks to help us out. And the idea is that not only do we have backup in our infrastructure, but we've got flexibility. If you guys ever wanted to do a breakout show and you want to do an OS 9 snooze fest, you can do that as long as there's somebody available to press the button, and so we need a few more people who've got their finger on that button. We do have a McClunky out here.
Stay on target.
Right here.
McClunky.
And then, so we've got that. And so, yeah, we're looking for some volunteers, and you need a halfway decent computer with a halfway decent internet speed, a decent graphics card, so we can get
over. You don't have to have a beard.
You don't have to have a beard.
No.
You don't need talent, which is evident by everybody on the panel here so far. But you need to have a halfway decent machine. So if you're interested in helping us be part of the broadcast community and stuff, let us know. Definitely could use a few more. It would be nice where we could have like a rotating, revolving door of streamers, where that way one person doesn't have to do this 4 weeks out of the month. We could have a couple. We could even set up a schedule where, every third one somebody streams. There's different ways we could do that. And it's just nice to have backups, people on deck, where if there's a problem or an emergency or a technical glitch, I lose my internet, we got somebody there. So
hey, Nick Marotta. Do you think his wife's after him?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh no, for me, no. I'm not trying to back out, but I'm just saying.
No,
not at all. No.
Yeah.
Listen, my wife knows.
But Stevie too, you also mentioned too, where you'd like to be more on the panel instead of driving the wheel too. You'd like to be able to be more of a participant in our conversations at times too.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of a public call for help. If South 336 Victor says, I have a Coco 2, is that enough power? Is the Coco 3 enough power?
That's all
is
you
the Coco
need.
2 enough? That's all you need, man. It's all you need. Yeah.
It's better to have that streaming video for the Coco 2. So
yeah. But I appreciate, and so our number one backup has been Mark Bosley, and we appreciate you, Mark. You are such a trooper for doing it. Rob Inman does it when he can too. But I'd love to have a good 4, 5, 6 people able to do it, somewhat proficient with it, and in an emergency, we could break the glass and pull in a backup Not only that, but we could have these breakout shows and these other shows at any given time, because I get food comas, I get tired, I get lazy. If you guys want to do a late night show, you don't have to worry about me. You got 5 other people to press a button. So think about that. Reach out to us, CoCoTalk at CoCoTalk.live if that interests you. Thank you all to the panel. Anybody have any parting thoughts?
I get CoCoTalk coma.
You get CoCoTalk coma. Yeah, it is exhausting, isn't it? I mean, it literally is. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, everybody who tunes in. The Nitrous 9 breakout show. Yes. The Smash. Nitrous 9. Yes.
We should have all our wives and girlfriends do a show.
Yeah, honestly, yes. The significant others. Yeah. The Coco Widows special,
Yeah.
right?
Here's how long it would go. Am I on? Goodbye.
Right. So, anyways, thanks, guys. Any parting thoughts? Final words? Anyone?
Push the button, Frank.
Can't wait till next week.
All right, can't wait till next week.
I gotta play with my printer some more.
So this just real quick, and again, the Coco Wives Club is what Robert Murphy calls it. Thanks, Robert. So just so you guys know too, we're gonna press the button in a minute here to end the broadcast, but I'm gonna continue to record a little bit more for a post show. We did a pre-show recording for about 20 minutes before we went live. And so we've got some cool dialogue and banter of us getting ready for the show. We're going to do a little bit of a post-show recording. And then this is going to be bonus content that we'll make available to our patrons that they'll be able to see
Behind the scenes.
later on. Behind the scenes, yes. So when in front of the scenes is not enough, we'll give you the dirty behind the scenes.
So we're basically going to show our backside here.
Yes. So thank you, guys. We're pressing the button. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right.
Sayonara.